اچھا تو کچھ اسٹوڈنٹس میرے آنا چاہ رہے ہیں، ریسرچ کے اسٹوڈنٹس ہیں تو وہ بھی آ سکتے ہیں، لیکن 2 بجے
ادھر بات
Secrets blank. تمہیں ایسا لگ رہا ہے انسلٹ ہو رہی ہے.
سر ایک منٹ تھینک یو
وتبارک اسمک وتعالی جدک ولا الہ غیرک. Translation: How perfect you are, O Allah, and I praise you. Blessed be your name, and lofty is your position, and none has the right to be worshipped except you. Now may I request Dr. Abdullah Shakir to please come on stage for the recitation of few verses of Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق اللہ العظیم.
Jazakallah. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would request you to stand for the national anthem, please. Ladies and gentlemen, may first of all I introduce myself. I am Ejaz Ahmed, Assistant Director Research and Development at Higher Education Commission Islamabad. I feel really honored to be the part of hosting this August gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, Albert Saint, one of the Nobel laureates, has very rightly said, research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. Research is the product of curiosity, systematic inquiry and examination. Research is all about innovation, creation of new knowledge and contributing the society to a greater extent. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's future lies in knowledge-based economy. In this connection, efforts are being taken at various levels in order to lead the country towards the path of progression and prosperity. There is no any trace of doubt in it that Higher Education Commission believes in promotion of research culture in Pakistan. The intent of Roadshow on new research and development framework developed by Higher Education Commission is to reach academics and researchers across Pakistan in order to improve the research scenario and to make a strategic move in the right direction. In this connection, 2 roadshow events on new R&D framework held in Islamabad and Karachi during current month. Ladies and gentlemen, the rationale behind this roadshow on new R&D framework is to educate, provide advice and guidance about various components of new research and development framework and motivate scholars, researchers and faculty members in order to get maximum benefit from various funding opportunities ranging from Grand Challenge Fund, Local Challenge Fund, Technology Transfer Support Fund to National Research Program for Universities and Innovative Collaborative Research Grant Program, which are central theme of discussion in this auspicious setting of researchers. Ladies and gentlemen, Henry Ford has very rightly said, coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. Today we have a brief on new R&D framework by Director General Research and Development Higher Education Commission, talk by World Bank representative and British Council representative, interactive and tutorial sessions regarding upcoming opportunities of research and development. To cut the long story short, I feel pride to invite leading figure behind the roadshow event, Dr. Zainul Abdin, Director General Research and Development, Higher Education Commission, to present a brief on new R&D framework. Sir, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my pleasure to have you here actually on a weekend, and I'm glad to have with us Dr. Taqi Bhatt from Punjab University, Ms. Hajra from British Council, and Dr. Fauzia from Shifa University. So before I go into the details of our framework, I can just mention a few words about why we are undertaking these activities actually. Ijaz has already mentioned some of our motivations and concept for these activities, but my main objective was to actually reach out to our research community so that we can not only introduce our research programs but also actually motivate you in order to avail these opportunities in a more effective way actually. So for us, we are moving away from quantity towards quality actually. So if you see in most of our programs, there are a limited number of opportunities actually. So for instance, even in the NRPU program, we have limited that to maximum 100 grants per year. But the idea is that each one of those grants will have a much better potential for you actually in terms of resources and in terms of flexibility that you can cover in those grants actually. You will get to know about all these details later on, but I can just briefly describe some of the salient features of these new programs in the next 20 to 30 minutes. So the agenda for my talk is to present an overview of the R&D framework and also to highlight some of the aspects that we are undertaking in order to improve our review process. So before I go into the details of each grant program, I can just share this landscape of research grants at HEC. So we have divided that into 4 parts. On the left hand side you can see there is basic research and applied research, and then on top we have unsolicited research and targeted research. So if you know about our traditional program, National Research Program for Universities, NRPU, so this is a part of kind of a unsolicited research. So we have not actually given you any specific theme on which you can do research in this particular program. But overall what we have done is that we have allocated resources so that we will be funding 60% of grants within this program for basic research, and the rest of the 40% will go towards applied research. All our other programs are targeted towards applied research. So there is this new program which we call Grand Challenge Fund, and it is about dealing with national level challenges, and the idea there is that it will be targeted towards applied research and towards targeted research as well. So it's mainly need driven research that we will be supporting in that initiative. We have Local Challenge Fund, and the idea behind Local Challenge Fund is to actually solve the local problems of our district level. So any academic together with district level government, they can come up with a solution to a problem related to sustainable development goals, and they can get funding from us. Another program which is targeted towards promoting industry academia linkages, so we call that Technology Transfer Support Fund, and the idea there is that each research grant will have to have matching funding from the industry at least. So the same amount that we will be giving to the researcher, he or she should have the same amount of commitment from the industry as well. And then we have this ICRG, which we have actually collaborated with the British Council. So this is kind of a bilateral program between Pakistan and UK government, where we will be covering the cost for the Pakistani researchers, and the UK researchers will be covered by British Council. And this is already open right now, so the deadline for the project outline stage is 2nd of December. So now I'll briefly go into each one of these grants to highlight the salient feature of these grants. So the GCF, as I mentioned, that it's a major initiative, so it's a quite substantial amount that you can actually support in that. So an individual grant can vary somewhere between 15 million to 225 million rupees. The aim of this program is to actually stimulate multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary research that is linked to one of the strategic priority areas that we think are relevant for the present and future needs of Pakistan and society and industry. So we have identified some of these priority areas that we think are important at national level, and of course there is room for specifying further challenges within these themes actually. So that's is the role of the researchers to come up with ideas that they think are within the same areas but are specific challenges related to those areas. The main idea there is that it should be led by a research intensive university, can be a lead partner, and they should form a consortium with 3 to 4 other universities or maybe departments within bigger universities as well. And the main concept behind this consortium is that that should have some kind of a complementary scientific expertise actually. So again, cross-disciplinary, but you should build your consortium so that you can identify different components of the cross-discipline. We are open for participation from industry, other public sector organizations, as well as international participants as well actually. So that will be considered as a merit actually. The call will be processed in 3 stages. There will be a project outline stage where again we have well-defined templates for that you need to submit. Once the proposals that are selected in the project outline stage, they will be asked to submit a full project proposal, and that will be evaluated again. And finally there will be a presentation at a high level expert panel where we think that the university leadership should also be present in that presentation so that they can actually ensure that they are really backing this initiative, because this is a major initiative at a university level. So the maximum project duration will be 3 years, and we are expected to grant around 25 projects per year in this particular call. And as you can see that there are almost 50% female participants here in the hall as well, so we are encouraging female participation in all of these grants actually, not limited to this grant but almost all of them. The next challenge fund or grant program is called Local Challenge Fund. Here the individual grant value is from 7.5 to 100 million rupees. The grant call is tailored to solve the local needs at district or divisional level. And the idea is that you can have cross-disciplinary research addressing any one of those 17 SDGs at a local level. And we would like to strengthen the research capacity of maybe some smaller universities that are located in those critical areas actually where those things are required. Again, we are open for participation from and even funding, co-funding from other organizations, can be public sector organizations or private sector organizations as well, and even industry will be also considered as a merit. So again, the idea for this is that it should be a consortium based application where a lead partner will be a PI from a academic from a university actually. And just let me clarify here as well, in all of these grant opportunities we are not limited to public sector universities only. It is open for private as well as public sector universities actually. The grant will be processed in 2 stages. There will be project outline stage and full project proposal stage. The maximum duration for this grant will be 3 years, and we are expected to grant maximum or around 15 projects within this call. The next program is called Technology Transfer Support Fund, and this one is mainly targeted towards promoting industry academia linkages and collaboration actually. I think maybe Dr. Fauzia will stress on that, but I can just say that in almost all of these programs we are actually expecting some kind of a collaboration with other researchers, with other organizations as well. That will be kind of in some cases it's a mandatory requirement, but in some cases it will be considered as a merit. The maximum duration for this particular project grant program will be 2 years, and we are expected to grant 35 projects per year within this program. We have identified some priority sectors that we think are important for our industry especially. And these are some of the areas that you can see are more relevant for this particular cause. And this one will be processed in a single stage, so you are supposed to submit your complete project with all the letter of intents or all the information at one stage. The next program is called Next Gen Research Program for Universities. This has been ongoing for the last 17 years. We have tried to revamp this program, so there are some key things that we have changed actually. One of them is the allocation of budget into these two broader themes. We have also put a minimum limit that each project should be minimum 5 million rupees actually, okay, because we want to support rather medium to big projects in this case even. We have also imposed a condition that if you are already holding a NRPU project, so you will not be eligible to, I mean you can apply, but you will not be eligible to get this grant actually in this phase until you are holding existing grant. We are also expecting that at the end of the project you will be able to demonstrate, maybe in terms of a presentation or in terms of some tangible demonstration, what impact you have produced as an outcome of that research that you have conducted in the last 3 years. So the maximum duration for this project will be 3 years, and we are expected to grant 100 projects per year within this program as well. And this will be processed in a single stage as well. Finally, there is this ICRG, which is Innovative and Collaborative Research Grant. Here, the maximum grant value is 50 million rupees. And I just clarify that this 50 million is only for the Pakistani partner. There will be an equivalent amount for the UK partner as well. It's a Pak UK collaborative project, so you need to have an academic partner from UK universities. There are some key areas that we have come up together with our colleagues from British Council, and this program will be processed in two stages: project outline stage and full project proposal stage. Maximum duration for each project will be 3 years, and for this year we are expected to process 6 grants in this program. Here you can see a tentative time plan of our different grants opportunities. So the ICRG grant is already open right now. The deadline for PO stage is 2nd December. Then all the rest of the programs, so we are expected to open up the NRPU program next week. And then following maybe in 2 weeks or 3 weeks time, we will open the rest of the opportunities as well. And they will have deadlines in different times during the spring of next year. So next, I will briefly highlight some of the initiatives that we have taken in order to improve our review processes as well, because there were concerns about the transparency and quality of assessments within these programs. So what we have done is that we have formed these 8 high-level panels, you can say. I mean, these are again broad disciplines which almost cover all the sciences and social sciences and arts and humanities, all the areas that one can think about doing research. So the mandate for these panels will be that they will carry out the assessment of each research grant application, some of the examples that I've already shown, and even the future grants that will be processed by these panels as well. They will also carry out the assessment of different publications related policies that we have at HEC. I mean, not policy, but at least some of the policy matters, you can say. So they will be determining the thresholds for individual disciplines about their W and X category journals as well. They will also be advising HEC in terms of how can we improve the priority areas for these different research calls in order to improve their impact over at the national level actually. So again, they will be acting as kind of an advisory body for HEC for their own discipline. We have already composed some of these panels. So for instance, we have already chosen the chair of each panel, and most of them are actually of impeccable stature, and they are appointed for 3 years tenure. And they will be consisting, they will form a panel of 5 to 8 panel members, again with some criteria that we have already defined to them. And those panel members can belong to academia, research organizations, or industry. And some of them, I mean, I can just say that most of these people who will be involved in these panels, they have a much wider experience of academia, industry, and even international exposure as well. So if you see here that some of our calls are actually based on some disciplines. So for instance, the NRPU program and the publication related matter that they will process, so they will be automatically segregated into these different disciplines. But all the rest of the calls, they are actually multidisciplinary nature. So we will form further subgroups actually, or multidisciplinary panels across these disciplines, and we will appoint program chairs for each one of these multidisciplinary programs who will be then steering the progress of these different programs actually. Again, the assessment level things. So this is just to give you an idea about how we are moving forward in order to improve our review processes and to improve the transparency and also the trust of the academic community as well. So just to recap or to summarize these initiatives. So the HEC R&D division will only be providing the secretariat support for these high-level panels actually. All the final decision making will be done by the respective panel members and their chair actually. So with that, I would like to thank you for your participation, and I hope that today you will enjoy these sessions and you will be participating more proactively actually in all of our rest of the programs. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Zainul Abdin, Director General, Research and Development, Higher Education Commission, Islamabad, for brilliant discourse and the way you brief about different aspects of the research program. Ladies and gentlemen, Helen Keller once said, alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Today we are pleased to have the representatives of international organizations, World Bank and British Council in this spectacular gathering of intellectuals. We are highly grateful for your participation. Now I would like to invite Dr. Graham Harrison, Senior Science and Technology Specialist, World Bank representative, to have talk on research scenario.
Hi, this is Graham.
That's all.
Yes.
Why started there?
So Dr. Graham, you're online. You can continue, please.
So thank you very much. I'm happy to talk about the World Bank supported higher education project in Pakistan and the real focus on research within that project working with HEC. My name is Graham Harrison. Good morning. I've been for the last 2 years a Senior Science and Technology Specialist at the World Bank. Prior to that, I was at the U.S. National Science Foundation, which is the primary funder of U.S. academic research, where I focus on international research cooperation. At the bank, I work with higher education projects, especially with a focus on support for academic research. Today, I'm going to be talking about the role of the World Bank higher education project in Pakistan and the elements of that that really focus on competitively funded research activities. And the view from the World Bank is that academic research is a key element of higher education. It leads to economic development, it leads to growth in the country, and it's also especially important in training the next generation of postgraduate students. In terms of the current World Bank higher education project in Pakistan, it's strategic. The focus is on building a sustainable system. Its focus is on particularly looking at strategic sectors that have been identified in consultation with HEC and the government. And it leads to an ambitious goal of Pakistan becoming an upper middle income country. And to do that, as in any country, there's a strong need for good quality, basic and applied research. There's a strong need for highly qualified researchers, and there's a need for research to be translated from the academic world into the commercial marketplace. And I think all of those elements come in within the projects I'll be talking about in terms of working with HEC on higher education research in Pakistan. I think it's important to note that for the project, we're looking for competitive, peer-reviewed, and research of international quality. And that means writing proposals by the academic review process to evaluate proposals and to end up supporting those projects that have the most potential, both in terms of research, the training of students, and also the translation of that research into, and the dissemination of that research into the broader community. One of the elements I think is very important for the projects we'll be talking about is the opportunity for consortia and bringing together teams of researchers to really address large challenge type problems. An individual researcher can make a big contribution, but teams of researchers, we believe, can be even stronger in terms of attaining the planned goals. And within that, we're looking for partners both within and outside Pakistan, and that depends in some sense on the type of project and the core proposals in which you're responding. Partners can also be academic, so collaborators from university researchers or the sector. Sector can be industry, SMEs or large companies. They can be national or multinational. They can also be public-private partnerships that can be involved in the research, or public utilities, for example, in terms of some of the activities, and also local stakeholders, which is particularly relevant for the Local Challenge Fund that I think you're probably all aware of at this point. So partnerships and consortia are a key element in the calls that we look forward to seeing with HEC. Another important element is making sure that all of those people who can contribute to research in any country contribute to the research enterprise. And of course that means in particular the importance of women in higher education. And I think that's being built into the calls for proposals. And also HEC will conduct particular outreach for female faculty members to ensure that they're fully represented in the submission of proposals and also in the grants process as well. I think it's important to note a couple things in terms of the overall scope of the research, of the funding that's going to be available. Clearly there's a very strong emphasis on the research ideas and the research program that addresses the questions that are identified in the project proposal. So the research is the underlying foundation of the calls for proposals. There's a key need for technology transfer and dissemination to the market and a broader community. And again, one of the elements that we focus on that, especially in terms of technology transfer, is entrepreneurship, giving both in terms of the ideas, but also training the individuals to be good entrepreneurs. And also innovation. So research should not just live at the university and be published in academic journals, but the results and the ideas and products that may emerge should also be coming out into the academic market, into the commercial marketplace, and into industry and the appropriate sectors. And I think another key element of funding is the ideas of ideas are important and people are important. A research grant is for 3 or 4 years typically, but the training of that postgraduate student on a research grant that can last for a 40-year impact on a research field, a university, or a sector within a country. So I think the important elements of funding are the research ideas, the people who are trained, and then also making sure that the ideas and the research results are communicated to the relevant stakeholders and also to the marketplace. In terms of the World Bank support and working with HEC in terms of research calls for proposals, there's 3 areas I'd like to highlight. The 3 types of calls for proposals. I think they've probably been talked about before in your opening remarks. The first of these is the Grand Challenge Fund. And these are in particular priority areas that have been identified by the Pakistan government and HEC. They're looking at large, multi-million-dollar, $1.5 million US dollars over 3 years, with an expectation that there are consortia to address grand challenges in a coordinated, system-wide type fashion, and then also communicate those results broadly, both within the global research environment, but also in the Pakistan system as well. And the the researcher can really address a grand challenge scale problem. The second proposal I should highlight is what we're calling the Local Challenge Fund. And here the idea is that the institution and the PI should really be looking at a locally relevant socioeconomic challenge linked with the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And again, this should be a consortium type project, but consortium now not only includes academic partners, but also local stakeholders, whether it be government representatives, civil society, or anyone else who brings the academic or the local perspective into the academic project. And the Local Challenge Fund has a budget up to $700,000 US. And really there's a very strong emphasis on both tackling a research problem that has local relevance, and ensuring that the research results are disseminated effectively locally and lead to policy and action changes in the local community. So very much geared towards Pakistan issues and local Pakistan issues as well. Another key element of the Local Challenge Fund is really to strengthen the capacity of the research enterprise at universities across Pakistan. The third call I'd like to reference is what's called a Technology Transfer Support Fund. And this is really a partnership between the academic researchers and industry, looking at an academic developed prototype or product, so something coming out of the academic world and how that can be transitioned into the market and to commercialization. The important element here is the partner has to come from industry and provide co-financing of the project. So HEC can provide up to $140,000 US for this project, but there must also be equal amounts or greater amounts of co-financing, either upfront cash or in in-kind contributions to the funding that's available through HEC. And really the idea between a Technology Transfer Support Fund is the innovation pipeline, is making sure that academically developed ideas are moved to the market and to commercialization within Pakistan as well. I think what I'd like to say is for the entire project, the focus of the World Bank is to really look at ensuring that research in Pakistan has the resources and the support to be successful on a global scale. And the research is not a university-only initiative, it's not a national-only initiative. Research is part of the global research environment, and the contributions in research results that come from the support that the bank is providing into these HEC projects really is designed to ensure that the research results that come from you as the Pakistan academic community have a strong impact, not just in Pakistan, but also on the global research environment. So with that, I'd like to conclude my remarks, and I'm happy to answer any questions that may emerge. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Graham, for your valuable thought, and with your own words, that partnership, consortia, idea, and people are very important elements for research promotion. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to invite British Council representative on higher education and skills, Ms. Hajra Khan, to have a talk on research collaborations with higher educational institutions.
Higher education portfolio for the British Council in the Punjab, and I also help manage the Pak UK Education Gateway along with the team. The British Council in Pakistan and the Higher Education Commission have recently launched a joint program called the Pak UK Education Gateway, which aims to enhance partnership between the higher education sector of the UK and that of Pakistan. Key areas of collaboration under this umbrella framework are innovative and collaborative research, higher education leadership, quality assurance, international mobility, citizenship, education, and transnational education. The Gateway builds on existing collaborations between the UK and Pakistan that the British Council and the HEC has facilitated over the past 15 years, from knowledge exchange and leadership development programs to student and teacher training, scholarships, and research collaborations. Previously, the British Council and HEC created 160 academic links between Pakistan and the UK. These were funded from 2004 till 2018, and 68,550 researchers and around 98,000 students were involved in these partnerships. And more than 500 students and faculty exchanges took place under these research partnerships. So innovative, impactful, and collaborative research is one of the most significant aspects of the Pak UK Education Gateway. This component focuses on research and partnership grants and the development of a research excellence framework, building the capacity of Pakistan's research and doctoral base. We're looking at 6 partnerships, Each partnership will be 3 years long. The contribution from the HEC side will be 50 million for Pakistani universities, with an equal contribution by the British Council to the UK partners. There are 8 thematic areas of ICRG. I believe we'll be focusing on ICRG specifically later today, but I will be available to answer any questions that there might be related to ICRG or the Pak UK Education Gateway. Thank you so much, Dr. Zain and the R&D team at the HEC for hosting this session today, and also the Punjab University for having us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hajra, for your thought. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my great pleasure to invite our guest of honor, worthy Dean, Faculty of Engineering and Technology, Professor Dr. Mohammad Taqi Zahid Bhatt Sahab, to address the audience.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable guests, dear colleagues of Punjab University and students, Assalamu alaikum. It is my privilege to welcome you all for participating in Roadshow on new R&D framework of HEC with the collaboration of HEC and Oral University of the Punjab. This event will play a pivotal role to develop a culture of research and knowledge sharing between higher education institutions, as well as establishment of linkage with relevant industrial and corporate sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, R&D in sciences, life sciences and engineering is our future. It is our motto, it is our passion, and the ultimate goal is a prosperous and dignified Pakistan. Scientific and engineering education is our priority. The HEC and worthy Vice Chancellor has provided us guidance and leadership for the advancement of scientific and engineering goal-oriented education, training and research at the university in all fields of sciences, technology and engineering. It is highly commendable and appreciable as it reflects the vision and wisdom of all Punjab University faculty members with regards to the future education, training and research requirement for the economic uplift of the country. This is really a futuristic approach for the scientific and technological development for the sustainable economic growth. The main program of the framework on the roadshow to highlight research and development framework of HEC will get maximum benefit from various funding opportunities which has already been described by the DG Sahib, like Grand Challenge Fund, Local Challenge Fund, National Research Program for Universities, Innovative and Collaborative Research Grant, Technological Transfer Support Fund, etc. HEC is playing a pivotal role for promotion of academics as well as applied research culture in the higher education institution to address the significant societal issues and boost international compatible research for a sustainable and progressive research ecosystem in the country. I hope and pray that all problems regarding any research activity will be solved and hurdle removed under the patronage of HEC and the worthy Vice Chancellor, University of the Punjab. In the end, I once again express my gratitude to all the guests who traveled all the way from Islamabad and the participants from the Punjab University to grace this occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Mohammad Taqi Zahid Bhatt, for your kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, we have first interactive session on Grand Challenge Fund Local Challenge Fund, Technology Transfer Support Fund, National Research Program for Universities, and Innovative Collaborative Research Grant Program after tea break. All participants are requested to have a cup of tea, and let's meet in auditorium at 11 o'clock. Research is creating new knowledge. Now I would like to invite Professor Dr. Kosratullah Malik, Distinguished National Professor, Dean Postgraduate Studies, Formal Christian College, to come on stage and have a talk today, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I have been caught unaware, you see. I had just come to attend, as all of you have come to listen to the roadshow and to know about all the activities of HEC. But I was just now talking to Dr. Zain Saab, that I am probably the one who has seen the pre-era of HEC, you see, when there was no HEC, and I can share with you the state in our universities and the search in our institutions, you see. At that time, whenever such gathering used to occur, one thing was common, that we would say that we want access to literature. You see, at that time, and I have been with the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, and I was working in Faisalabad. We used to post that we get current contents by airmail. I am not sure if people know about current contents. You see, it used to be published by ISI, and it only used to give contents of all these scientific journals. If you subscribe to, for example, environmental sciences or life sciences or agriculture or all different areas, all these different areas have different current contents, and we used to get that. And the advantage was that there used to be the address of the authors, you see. So we used to write cards, you see, to the authors, and if the authors were magnanimous, they used to send us their articles by mail, obviously. So it used to take 3 to 6 months in order to get one article. So I'm only saying this, that you please consider that time, और उस वक़्त भी हम कुछ थोड़ा बहुत रिसर्च कर ही लेते थे, you know. And you consider now, with the click of the computer, you have access to the entire world, you see, And so these are the times, and when we criticize and we say, all the things that you don't have at the moment. So you should also keep in mind that we have gone a long way, you see, And it has been the game changer. Game changer had been the establishment of HEC. And the game changer has been, we should all be honest and fair that because of Ataur Rahman and General Musharraf being there at the helm of affair, that was the game changer, you see. And Musharraf was genuinely convinced by Ataur Rahman that until and unless you invest in education and science and technology, we cannot go forward, you see. And that was an era of about 8-9 years, where immense investment in science and technology, in education had been made, you see. And I think our good luck has been that even after Ataur Rahman's tenure was over, the following chairman also tried to continue all that initiative and all that efforts in order to do that. They did not change drastically the policies of HEC. But as the things are, that we have to move forward and we have to keep on looking at things from different perspectives. You see, for example, we have, I think HEC has already done and they are doing the evaluation of NRPUs, which have been going on for the last 8, 9, 10 years now, you see, And these have been, now there has been a criticism, that we should not go for impact factor, but we should go for impact, you see. It's fine, you see, but you can't have an impact without considering the impact factor. Because impact factor means that your ideas, your work is of some quality. You see, so, but you have to have a very fine balance between these two lines of thought, you see, And the second is that in our enthusiasm of commercialization and entrepreneurship and having some product in hand, I was discussing it with Dr. Zain Saab as well, that I have a fear that our universities might not become a developmental organization. That is like an NGO. You see, the NGOs are responsible for distributing something already developed, you see, And so unless our universities are truly, as you have just now had a quote, you see that the universities are places where new knowledge is generated, you see. If the universities are not doing that, then they are not serving their purpose, you see. The commercialization comes after that, you see. So, isliye all these things that have been now organized, like all these RAND challenge and local challenge and innovation fund and NRPUs, I would suggest that we should give a due consideration on having research with an objective, you see, goal-oriented research, you see. These are all cliches also, that people in the helm of affair always keep on saying that you should have a goal-oriented research, but how to do that, you see. So, we have some ideas that we should be looking at the different themes, which are themes depending on the problems of the country. And we should have some body, some experienced body comprising of experienced people to identify the problems in all areas, you see. For example, a theme of food security. Food security is no theme, you see. We should have areas, what are the areas in food security which are researchable and where we need some research, you see. I give you an example, dengue has been there, it has gone all over the country, you see. Why aren't we making a concerted effort, you see? Concerted is an important word, you see. It's individuals keep on doing things, you see, but that will not solve anything, you see. Unless we have a coordinated, we have a group of 5, 6 laboratories and given them a task of doing different things and then asking them, what have you done? You see, so ये एक एग्जाम्पल है, लेकिन इसी तरह की बहुत से एरियाज में एग्जाम्पल्स हैं. ओके, वी शुड ट्राई टू आइडेंटिफाई देम एंड ट्राई टू डू वर्क. ये सारे जितने भी हैं, दे ऑल दीज रोड शो, RAND challenge or local challenge and all that, they all insist on collaboration, you see. They all insist on multidisciplinary and multi-institutional activities that require collaboration, that requires networking, that requires that we should talk to each other. हमारे कल्चर में अनफॉर्चुनेटली एक यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में एक डिपार्टमेंट को नहीं पता होता कि उसी डिपार्टमेंट में क्या काम हो रहा है इसे, एंड दिस इज़ मोस्ट अनफॉर्चुनेट. और एक डिपार्टमेंट को छोड़ दे, एक डिपार्टमेंट के अंदर एक लेबॉर्ट्री को उसी लेबॉर्ट्री का इल्म होता है इसे. दिस इज़ ऑनेस्टली दिस इज़ वन ऑफ द मेन इशूज़. मैं इसलिए कह सकता हूँ क्योंकि आई गॉन थ्रू द मेल. तो इसलिए these are some of the things that we have to address, and I'm sure that HEC, with all this kind of a rejuvenation of funds also, and sir, jo ideas marzi aap kar le, until and unless those ideas are backed by appropriate funding, it's no use. Don't then even think about it, you see. उसी बगैर पैसे के कुछ नहीं होएगा, और अगर आपके पास पैसा है तो ये सब कुछ अगर हैं, इसके पीछे बैकिंग है, तो it will be of any use, you see. Otherwise it's virtually of no use and wasting of all our time, you see, you know. But I have been told, and I know now, that there is funding and there is support by the government also and by the other funding agencies. I would request that you bank too much on the national funding agencies rather than the donors, because those come and go. But आपके नेशनल देखें, आपका NRPU जो है, because वो नेशनल फंडिंग से था, वो अब तक कायम है इसे. दूसरी बाकी के सारे 2-3 साल जब तक का कोई डोनर्स की इंटरेस्ट होता है, वो उस वक्त तक रहते हैं, फिर उसके बाद ख़त्म. तो इसलिए all those things I think HEC understands, and I hope that all these roadshows, इसी से आपको डॉक्टर सैन साहब आपको अंदाज़ा हो गया होगा कि what kind of an enthusiasm our scientists, our young scientists especially, have for doing research and looking for funds, you see. They are virtually starving and raving for being supported, and they have fantastic ideas. और एक और बात आपको दिमाग में रखनी होगी, HEC and all of you as well, कि we have in Pakistan over the last 20 years, we have developed our scientific manpower and we have expertise in every area of science and technology. This is my considered opinion, you know, because पिछले 20 साल में हमने इतने लोगों को भेजा है बाहर और इतने लोगों को ट्रेन हुए हैं. Please have some mechanism of using all of them, you see. You know, मेरा एरिया बायोटेक्नोलॉजी का है. I am with all my conviction can tell you that we have people in every area, in every cutting edge area of biotechnology in the country. You see, वो लोग कोई फरदान में हैं, कोई वो चार सदा में, कोई खित में, खुरम यूनिवर्सिटी में इतने अच्छे बच्चे हैं, बच्चियाँ हैं, यू नो. तो सो इन सब को अगर हम इस्तेमाल कर पाएँ तो इट विल बी एन एक्सेलेंट थिंग. सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर गिविंग मी दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी. थैंक यू.
Thank you, sir, Dr. Kausar Abdullah, for useful thought. And with your words that game changer has been the Higher Education Commission, I believe academia too. Ladies and gentlemen, starting with the words of Pearl Berg, if you want to understand today, you have to search yesterday. In the backdrop of said words, it is significant to understand the basics and rationale behind the research grants. Through first interactive session, let's know and explore the avenues in upcoming Grand Challenge Fund, GCF, Local Challenge Fund, LCF, Technology Transfer Support Fund, TTCSF, Innovative Collaborative Research Grant, ICRG, and National Research Program for Universities, NRPO. Now I would like to invite Mr. Abrar Ahmed, Assistant Director, Research and Development, to present in detail on the said programs of research and development, and in last time is fixed for question answer session.
Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Myself, Abrar Ahmed, serving as an Assistant Director in the Research and Development Division of HEC. I hope you have already got a brief overview, or detailed overview rather, of our upcoming grants. So my part of the presentation will be covering the operational details That includes the application submission procedure for those grants, the proposal development, what are the key requirements from HEC in terms of submission of your proposals, what is going to be the evaluation process. You have already got some idea regarding the scientific panels that have been developed to conduct this review process, and then ultimately the awarding. So just to give you a brief recap of what has already been mentioned, I have combined all these grants just to give you a summarized look. So in terms of the project durations, most of the grants are 3-year grants except the TTSF, that will be up to 2 years. Then we have the number of expected grants per year or for a particular call. So most of these grants are consortium based, so we have grants ranging from say 6 per year in case of ICRG up to 100 per year in case of NRPU. As far as the funding is concerned, it has already been mentioned. Previously we used to have NRPU as our flagship program, and the maximum funding that was available was up to 20 million. So now as you can see, the range of funding has been extended very much, as Dr. Kosar pointed out, that you need funding to do quality research. So we can have funds up to ranging from 5 million in case of NRPU up to 225 million in case of the GCF grant. So moving on, the application submission procedure, obviously first thing is to develop a proposal. So you need to understand the eligibility criteria, that whether or not you are eligible to apply for a particular grant, and then how to construct a project team in order to carry forward that project, and then how to submit that proposal. So for the GCF call, there is going to be a lead PI who will be responsible for carrying out the research with the project team. So that PI can be from a research intensive institution, and the project team that will be constructed following can be from different departments of any particular university or from any other university. Similarly, it can add participants from the private sector as well as from industry. In case of LCF, again the eligibility requirement is same. Well, it is in general the same for all the grants, that a faculty member from both public and private university can apply for any particular grant. So in case of LCF, the project team again can be a consortium from multiple departments or multiple universities, and similarly you can have private sector participants in that as well. In case of TTS, again the applicant has to be a faculty member, but the particular requirement in this grant is that you need to have co-financing from the industrial partner, which is going to be in terms of cash or in kind. For NRPU, the eligibility requirements are comparatively similar as we used to have, but the major difference obviously is that previously we used to support the public universities and the limited selected private universities. Now it's open for all the public and private sector universities, but you got to have an advanced academic degree, a PhD or an MPhil with 2 years of research experience. Similarly, and the main thing obviously is you can be awarded a maximum of 1 NRPU grant at a particular time.
Last point says maximum 1.
Yeah, so we will have this question answer section at the end, so you can probably note it down and we'll be able to answer it. So for ICRJ, as it has already been mentioned, that it's a collaborative grant, so the proposal is going to be developed jointly by a faculty member from Pakistani University as well as a faculty member from UK institutions. So the purpose is to develop a partnership between the universities as well as from the public sector participants or any other third sector, which can include developmental agencies and any other organizations. So from the Pakistani part of it, the PI will construct a consortium basically, and you can collaborate with the Center of Excellences in that particular area of research, as well as you can have multilateral partnerships with any other country, provided that the third country agrees to financially support their researcher. So this is important. As far as the funding is concerned, so it will be provided by HEC and British Council, as it has already been mentioned. So regarding the proposal submission, we'll be receiving our applications through this online portal. Most of you must be already familiar with this portal. I would just want to give you a quick look. This is the central portal that HEC uses for receiving any kind of applications for attestation, say, or scholarships. So currently, for the R&D part, we have this Innovative and Collaborative Research ICRG open. So you'll be able to find this application form currently. But from next week onwards, we'll have our other calls announced as well. NRP is going to be announced. The other calls will be hopefully announced after mid of December. So you will have all the application forms available on this website. So you can visit it, you can fill the form online. So coming back, the applications, as has been already mentioned, that it can be a single stage application or up to a 3-stage application. So if it's a 3-stage application, you will have the project outline submissions through that online portal in the first stage. Then we'll have the full project proposal submissions in the next stage, and then we'll have presentations. These are the important details to be noted for the ICRG grant, since it is already open. So for the project outline part, the deadline is December the 2nd, 2019. So you've got almost 10 days to go in terms of that. So the portal is open, you can submit your applications. The purpose of project outline submission is basically to judge the eligibility of a particular proposal with respect to the objectives of the grants. So the basic purpose is actually to identify that whether the submitted proposal is in line with the thematic areas that have already been identified in the call for proposals. Subsequently, the full project proposal will only be accepted from the PIs that have got successful evaluation at the initial project outline stage. And ultimately, the PIs will be successful in going through the FPP stage, will be asked to submit, to come for a presentation in front of a high-level expert panel. So this is the distribution of grants in terms of these stages. The TTSF and NRP grant will be single-stage processes. The ICRJ and the LCF are 2-stage, and then the GCF obviously covers all these 3 stages. So this is just a sample of what will be required in terms of the outline forms or the full project proposal forms. I'll just give you a quick look at these forms. So this is just a sample of the ICRJ that is already open. So this is the project outline form. This is the kind of information that we'll be requiring from your end. It's the basic information, just the title, the duration of the project, the budget, and then the detail of the Pakistani PI, and then the detail of the partner from UK institution. For any other grant, obviously this UK part won't be there, but you will have other requirements depending upon the grant. This you have to put in the priority thematic areas in the form. So moving on, you have to submit a little introduction, you can call it executive summary or popular science description in there. And then you have the project description, which requires details such as the challenges, the methodology, and the partnerships developed. Here you have the research collaboration table. If you have collaborators from academic or sectoral sectors, so you have to put in the information, the list of references, and the budget. So budget will have obviously a different template. I'll be showing you in a while, and then the CVs and all that. So this is the basic information that is required at the project outline stage. For the full project proposal stage, the basic information remains the same, but we have some additional things that will be required from your end, such as the project management, the implementation timeline, the risk management strategies, and so on. So these forms are obviously available online on our website, so you can visit and see the details. The helplines or the guidelines regarding how to fill out these forms is available in the call for proposal document for any particular call. So for ICRJ, we have uploaded this document. This document will give you an idea about the background, the objective, and the key features of these grants. But most importantly, it will help you in identifying the proposal formatting. So we have provided all the details that you need to consider while submitting a proposal. Since your proposal will be evaluated based on the details, so you have to be careful in terms of preparing your proposal and then submitting it. So these are also available online. So to move on to the funding part, this gives you an idea about the types of funding heads that will be supporting in a grant. First thing is the salaries for PIs and co-PIs. Previously it used to be honorariums, so now it's a bit different, and in the next slide I'll be showing you that how this model has been changed. So first thing is the salaries, then we have stipends. For previously it used to be for masters and PhD students. Now we have added the bachelor students as well as the postdoctoral students in the stipend section. In this travel section, you will be having funding for travel to the national as well as international meetings to present your results. Similarly, from a publication point of view, you will have funding for processing fee in the open access journals. In case of equipment, again you will have funding for the equipment as well as research supplies or expendable supplies that you will be needing in your project. And then you have patent filing support in marketing. So this particular thing is only supported under the TTSF call, the patent filing support, and as well as the marketing for the prototype. So a more detail about the specific heads. As I mentioned that in the salaries, it used to be honorariums previously, but now it's salaries. So the salary of the PI and co-PI will be dependent upon the time spent by that PI or co-PI in the project. So it will be calculated based on the amount of time that the PI is going to be spending on a particular project. In case of studentships, this gives you an idea about the stipend ranges. We have raised the stipend of a PhD student. Previously it used to be a maximum of 25,000. Now you can have this stipend from 40,000 to 60,000. For master's student, previously it used to be only 20,000. Now it's a range between 15,000 to 25,000. And similarly, we have added stipends for bachelor's as well as postdoc fellowship. In case of permanent equipment, you can obviously demand that in the budget head, but the total price of that equipment must not exceed 30% of the overall project cost. The major issue previously being faced by the PIs was in terms of purchasing of that equipment. Previously the LC was not allowed in the projects, but now we have allowed the PIs to open LC for purchasing of the equipment. Similarly, for the travel section, as I mentioned that you can have funding for the travels nationally as well as internationally. So in this particular budget head, the travel grant policy of HEC will be applicable, and that is already available on the website, and I hope most of you must be already aware of that. So you can go and find the particular details in terms of that, but you can obviously request this funding under any of our grants. Similarly, the publication fee, again the most distinguishing feature is the funding under the university head. Previously it used to be funding only for the ORIC part, and it was 15% if the university has a notified ORIC, and it used to be 2% if you don't have a notified ORIC in your university. Now that head has been converted into an overall university overhead, and the funding amount has also been increased. So it can range from 15% up to 30%. But you can see that we have also added some additional responsibilities for the university. So you can cover all these following costs under this particular head. So this was all about the proposal submission. Let me give you an overview of our budget template that I mentioned. So this is a sample budget template. Again, since our ICRJ call is open, so this is particularly for ICRJ, but most of our grants will be using similar pattern. So this is already available on the online portal. So this is the kind of information that we'll be requiring in terms of the personal costs. You have to put in the percentage time spent by the PI and the other personnel involved in the project. Then you have stipends for postdoctorals and the other students, PhD, MPhil, bachelors, any other personnel, the cost for equipment and supplies, and similarly national and international travel and any other cost involved in the projects. We have also put in the guidelines to fill out this budget template on our website. For ICRJ application, the guidelines are only applicable for the Pakistani part of the budget. So for ICRJ particularly, you will have to be putting in information for the UK part as well. For any other grant, this won't be there. So this is as far as the proposal submission is concerned. I'll be moving toward the evaluation process. So as you noted that the submission stage can vary from single stage to 3 stage. So the evaluation process will also vary from single stage to the 3 stage. And these are the different kind of steps that will be involved. In case of project outline submission, we'll have a review for that. Then we'll have a desk evaluation for full project proposal submitted, and then a presentation in case of GCF. So this will be an additional preliminary step, you can call it, before being evaluation of the project outline or full project proposal. We'll have this initial scrutiny of the submitted proposals. So the purpose of this scrutiny is basically to identify the eligibility and the other requirements of these applications. So we'll be giving the guidelines of what kind of things will be considered under the scrutiny. I'll give you an example such as that if whether or not the PI is eligible to apply for that particular grant, since we have eligibility criteria for all the grants. So we'll be checking that whether or not the PI is eligible for that particular grant, whether or not a PI has an ongoing project, which is obviously if it's delayed, so obviously it's a red flag thing, you need to consider that. And any other such as requirement of documents, whether or not you have submitted the required documents, whether the proposal formatting is in line with the guidelines that are provided. So these are the kind of things that will be considered in the initial scrutiny phase. If the proposal gets clears that thing, so it will be accepted, and then it will be processed for this project outline or full project proposal detailed review. If it gets rejected, then the PIs will be notified, obviously with the reasons that on what basis their proposal has been rejected. Moving on to the project outline review stage, the eligible proposals will be sent to a multidisciplinary panel. As you have already noted that most of our grants are basically multidisciplinary, so we'll be constructing different panels, and the proposals based on their thematic areas will be assigned to those panels. Then there will be an independent external evaluation by the reviewers, and the panels are going to assign all the proposals to the independent evaluators, and then we'll be getting recommendations from those independent external evaluators, and then there's going to be a discussion in the panel, and then ultimately it's either acceptance of that proposal or rejection. If it is rejected, the PIs will be notified accordingly. If it is accepted and the grant is a 2-stage process, then the successful PIs will be asked to submit the full project proposal. So regarding the evaluation and selection protocol, as it has already been mentioned that we have constructed the scientific review panels. So there is a detailed and comprehensive protocol that has been devised, which is merit based and transparent to ensure the transparent evaluation and selection process. So I'll be sharing the detail of that protocol in my next slides. The selection of reviewers, the independent external evaluators, obviously these are the considerations which will be done or which have been done, such as the credibility, the subject expertise with respect to the thematic areas, capability of evaluating the research and the technology transfer projects, because in the TTSF it is a requirement. Then the reviewer has to be independent of any institution that has submitted that proposal. Some additional requirements such as the expertise in management of the large-scale consortia, expertise in the Pakistani and the global academic system. Obviously the identities of the expert independent evaluators for each proposal will not be disclosed. Just to avoid any conflict of interest, all the reviewers or the evaluators will be signing a conflict of interest declaration, which is obviously very important to ensure the transparency as well as quality. For the full project proposal submission, so this is a second stage basically. The proposals who have cleared the first project outline review, the PIs will be submitting full project proposals, and a similar exercise will be done. Multidisciplinary panels will be constructed, and each proposal will be assigned to a particular panel based on its thematic area. It will again be evaluated by independent evaluators. Then there will be a discussion and recommendations will be made. The panel is going to rank or recommend the top ranked proposals under any particular grant, and then if it is accepted, and it's a 3-stage call, so you will have to come and present your proposal. If it's a rejection, then intimation will be done to the PI. So this is as I was talking about the evaluation protocol. So an evaluation rubrics basically has been devised, and these are some of the key features that will be considered during the review process by the reviewers. So this is also available on our website. You can go and visit. These are some of the key features that will be considered. So once based on these considerations, the proposals are going to be marked using this scale from. So it can be marked from say 1 being the lowest and up to 7. So this marking is going to be done by the external evaluators, and then it is going to be discussed within the panel in order to select the top ranked proposals. These are some of the, as I already mentioned, the protocol or the evaluation protocol will be followed in the review. These are some of the key considerations that will be done. First of all, obviously, the proposal has to be aligned with the thematic area. What are the chances of successful implementation of that project? The capability of institutional leadership to carry that project. It must achieve a scoring threshold that is determined by the evaluators. Additionally, the highest ranked proposals will be recommended for further funding. It is in line with the program goals, the diversity of disciplines, and such things will be considered in the review process. So the third phase will be presentation, and this part only deals with the GCF grant. So for the presentation part, firstly a high-level expert panel will be constructed, which will include independent experts from multidisciplinary academic and research experience. So the focus of this panel will be on assessing in person the capacity of the research team and the host institution to deliver what is being described in the written proposal. The next phase will be a presentation of the PI along with the university head and the other members involved in the consortium. The next, obviously, there is going to be an evaluation by the panel, which will be based on the evaluation rubric that I have already mentioned. Then there's going to be a discussion and finalization of the results and the final selection. So for the final selection, the proposals for funding will be sent to the steering committee or a board. So these are some of the details that will be considered in the steering committee. The committee may deviate from the recommendations of the review panel without, however, changing any evaluation marks of any individual proposal. So these are some of the final things that will be considered in the steering committee before awarding of the grant. So if the grant is approved, the next step obviously involves the budget negotiations that can include the the research activities, the size of the research team, the costs that are associated with a particular grant, the resources required to conduct that grant, and any feedback provided through to the PI. So then will be the issuance of the award letters and the agreement signing and release of the first installment. So before the sign off, if there are any improvements to be done in the proposals, it has to be done from the PI's end, and he has to provide a detailed implementation plan to conduct that particular grant. For the final award letter, it will be sent to the PI with all the budget details. That will include the agreement to be signed with HEC, the total budget breakups for the funds and installments. So these are just the technical details. The award shall stand cancelled if the PI fails to sign an agreement or to finalize the budget within the provided timeline. There is going to be a grievance committee if any PI raises any kind of objection on the decision of his grant. So just to give you, this is just a recap of what has already been told, just to give you an idea if someone has missed it already. This is the timeline that will be followed in terms of announcement of the grants till the very end for different grants. So for your convenience, we always get this complaint that HEC website is not very clear in terms of finding the exact data required. So for R&D part of it, this is a link. It's very clear if you go onto the HEC website. So this is the R&D main page. You will have the details for all the grants program here. We also deal in the journals and the digital library things. So the grants information is available on this part of the page. So there we have it, our GCF, the LCF, and all the other different kinds of grants information. The ICRJ is currently open, as I told you. So you will have the information, the same information available on the website. If you go into the downloads thing, so you will have all these helpful documents available there. This is a user manual. If you have any kind of technical issues in terms of online application, so you can go through this manual. We have also provided the FAQs there. So similarly, this is an important email if you want any kind of information regarding any R&D program, so you can write us there and we'll be able to respond to you then. In case of any technical issue in terms of submitting an online application, so this is an online help portal that has been developed by HEC. You can go onto that portal and you can find the details or any FAQs related to any program. If your issue is not resolved, you can register an online complaint and that will be handled by our backend team. So similarly, you can write us a letter or anything. So we are always available. So the floor is open for any questions and answers. Thank you.
I think before we start questions, if you go back to the previous slide, so there were so many participants who asked me for my own business card actually. So I would like you to actually raise all your queries on these emails and these portals. This is the right way to address these issues actually. I mean, in the worst case scenario, you can also send it to me on email, but I would prefer to receive all these information. And rest assured that I am looking at all of these things as well.
So can you have the mics, please?
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Hassan Lance. Thank you so much for the presentation. I have a couple of questions. So like HEC had launched this initiative, the 3 centers last year. Many of us have funding from those centers. Are we eligible to apply for these grants? Okay, for NRBU also. Okay. Then I have a question on the rest of the question on ICRG. I think the pre-application form that you shared, I think the one that I downloaded does not have a page of budget.
It's not.
No.
So the budget has a separate guidelines.
No, I mean the form. So the form that he showed, where he was saying executive summary. I'm just saying that form did not have budget page.
The budget page is not in that form. That is only a template for your project description. The budget has a separate form actually which you have to fill in.
But he showed. So you're talking about the Excel sheet, right?
Yes.
But he showed another separate page. So I'm just.
No, those are just the guidelines about the budget heads that are going to be available.
If you go to that
let me tell you.
I think it's probably appropriate to show the. And maybe you look at the full project proposal.
Maybe.
Okay.
Okay. So I have. So for example, the projects that fall under the health sciences thematic area. So to have a translation project, we have to collaborate with hospitals. And we'll have clinicians and residents who will be working. So are we allowed to assign some sort of an honorarium to those folks?
Within Pakistan?
Yeah, within Pakistan. Within Pakistan. So we are allowed to do that. So that comes under other personnel or that comes under family. Okay. Okay. And then for the pre-application, so we have to submit a budget.
Yes.
That Excel file.
Yes.
Okay. And lastly, the question I have is for the overseas collaborations other than UK. So we have some partners that we are trying to fetch some data from those. So those are also encouraged.
Yes, but
we won't be paying.
They will not get the payment from us.
Yeah,
they will have to be in-kind support.
Sure, but you don't need a letter from them, right? Or you need an official letter.
I mean, it would be good actually, because I mean that would make sure to us that you are really collaborating.
Okay. And just sorry, last thing. And so the final selection will be 6 projects in ICRG. So in the pre-application phase, although this may be a confidential information, how many applications are you planning to shortlist? No idea. Okay, thanks.
I have a question.
You have another mic?
I have a question regarding
Mic ले लें तो.
Thank you. I have a question again for the ICRG that you have mentioned about the budget, and I want to know that if we want to apply for a project with the collaboration of the university in UK, and the student is enrolled in UK university, so in that case, the funding should be requested for the PG, postgraduate PhD student, and would it be funded?
जी हम जो फंड कर रहे हैं वो यहाँ पे जो स्टूडेंट्स रजिस्टर्ड होंगे पाकिस्तान की यूनिवर्सिटी में उनको फंड कर रहे हैं. तो यूके स्टूडेंट कैन बी कवर्ड इन अदर यूके पार्ट.
लेकिन बजट का यूके वाला पार्ट भी हम लोगों ने कंप्लीट करना है और सबमिट करना है.
जी वो आपको एक दफा I mean this is the whole application format actually. तो इसमें आप जो एप्लीकेशन डेवलप करेंगे वो टुगेदर विद योर यूके पार्टनर होगी. तो आप अपना बजट भी फिल करेंगे और उनका भी फिल करेंगे क्योंकि यही एप्लीकेशन होगी दैट विल बी कंसीडर्ड फॉर द फाइनल इवैल्यूएशन. तो इट विल बी बोथ. आई मीन हम ब्रिटिश काउंसिल के साथ मिलके उसकी इवैल्यूएशन करेंगे, लेकिन ये है कि आपने उसमें कंप्लीट इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोवाइड करनी है. देयर विल नॉट बी अ सेपरेट like a link from British Council जिसमें आप फिर UK के अलग से ये नहीं होगा. आपको सारी इंफॉर्मेशन इसी पैकेज के अंदर है.
जी उसमें आपने मेंशन किया है ना कि PhD स्टूडेंट के लिए स्पेसिफिक कुछ है 40,000 to 60,000.
नहीं वो that is applicable on the Pakistani.
Yes, I am asking the same question. अगर वो पाकिस्तानी नेशनल है but they are enrolled in a
वो तो कोई भी बच्चा चाहे वो कहीं का भी नेशनल है, वो अगर यूके यूनिवर्सिटी में एनरोल्ड है तो दैट विल बी कवर्ड बाय द यूके बजट.
जी लेकिन उसके कोई हेड नहीं बताया गया कि उसका कितना हेड होगा.
नहीं उसकी हमने बिकॉज आई मीन HEC was only responsible for the British for the Pakistani part. ठीक है, तो हमने अपनी बजट जो लिमिटेशंस रखी हैं वो अपनी पाकिस्तान के.
तो उसमें हम कुछ भी डाल सकते हैं.
उसमें you can. I mean I don't know. If they have any guidelines.
Page. We don't have any guidelines as such. It could vary from university to university. So जो भी उनकी requirements है UK university की उनके जितने भी set जो भी उनका criteria के मुताबिक आप enter कर लें, we would obviously in consultation with the agency we will make final decisions.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. First of all, thanks of all that thanks of you that. Arranging so much gathering. My name is Dr. Bilal from Bahrain University. I have a specific question regarding TTSF, Technological Transfer Support Fund. My question is that if I select an industry and collaborate with my some findings relevant to specific that industry, is it okay for HEC, or HEC will find some CSR aspect in some corporate aspect in that findings?
Fine. I mean, what I understood was that आप कह रहे हैं कि इंडस्ट्री को हम फंड करेंगे कहीं से.
No. If I select some industry according to my research,
जी,
and collaborate with that, is it okay for you, or you will find some findings which is relevant to the whole industry?
देखिए हर प्रोजेक्ट में अपना इंडस्ट्रियल पार्टनर को सिलेक्ट करना है. हमने नहीं कुछ उनको कहना. यू हैव टू कम अप विद योर ओन इंडस्ट्रियल पार्टनर जो आपके आइडिया में जिसका इंटरेस्ट है. बट वी आर आस्किंग कि आपको जितनी भी हम फंडिंग देंगे उतनी ही फंडिंग की कमिटमेंट उस इंडस्ट्री से आपको लेके आनी है. ठीक है, कमिटमेंट लेके आनी है एंड नॉट इन कैश बट इट कुड बी इन कैश, इट कुड बी इन काइंड एज वेल.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Azra. I am from CEMB. I have a question pertaining to ICRG because Ms. Hajra, she told me that we need a non-academic partner as well for the application of the outline. So I want to ask that the non-academic, in case of like health-related projects, the non-academic partner could be any hospital, like private clinics,
or it needs to be necessarily any company or commercial industry?
I think the non-academic partner is not mandatory. उसमें हमने लिखा
अच्छा, that is not mandatory.
उसकी जो wording आप पढ़ेंगी तो said के it will be encouraged और कुछ इस तरह का हमने word.
अच्छा, that's preferable but not mandatory.
It's not mandatory. लेकिन if you have it तो.
Yeah, my name is Mazhar Iqbal from Faisalabad. मैं एक बात रिक्वायर करना चाह रहा हूँ कि for how many cycles a year this framework will replicate? Do you have a clue?
Once.
1 year only.
नहीं.
Once a year.
Once a year. और कितने साल तक ये चलेगा?
जो हमारा NRPU है वो तो ऑफ कोर्स जब तक HEC जिंदा है कोशिश करेंगे हम चलता रहेगा, ठीक है. जो बाकी ग्रांट्स हैं उनकी हमारी अगेन कमिटमेंट्स हैं. ब्रिटिश काउंसिल इज अभी हमारी कमिटमेंट वंस है ओनली दिस ईयर, ठीक है. जो हमारी वर्ल्ड बैंक की जो फाइनेंसिंग है वो 2 साइकिल्स की है.
And World Bank will be funding for grant
GCF, LCF and TTSF.
ठीक है.
तो ये अभी फंडिंग है, बट having said that we are working with other partners as well. तो don't think कि ये बस this is the only opportunity. अभी इसी वक्त हमने जो हमारी मोबिलिटी ग्रांट्स हैं वो एक की कल डेडलाइन ख़त्म हुई है जो कैरीआउट की थी, एक की पिछले वीक ख़त्म हुई है जो कि पार्क लेवल प्रोग्राम था. एंड देयर आर सो मेनी अदर थिंग्स व्हिच आर इन द पाइपलाइन एक्चुअली, जो वो मैं भी आपको डिस्क्लोज नहीं कर सकता. बट जैसे ही जैसे वो हमारे पास कमिटमेंट हमें फाइनलाइज होती जाएंगी वी विल ओपन अप अदर वेन्यूज. लेकिन अभी तक जो है फॉर द नेक्स्ट ईयर वो ये मैं आपको हम बता रहा हूँ.
Aman Zafar from Lungs. I have a few questions. So there are a number of people who actually have ongoing grants, NRPU or TDF. Is there any restriction on continuing that work and taking it, for example, to TDSF or other grants? Because that may be a natural progression of the work which is already being conducted.
उसमें हमारा स्टैंड ये है कि अगर आप NRPU का लेट्स सपोज कोई प्रोजेक्ट आपने होल्ड कर रहे हैं तो NRPU के अंदर आप ये अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, अगेन अप्लाई कर सकते हैं, लेकिन यू विल नॉट गेट लेकिन आप PDF के या GCF के अंदर कर सकते हैं, LCF के कर सकते हैं, TTSF के अंदर भी कर सकते हैं. इसी तरह TDF के अंदर अगर आप कर रहे हैं तो इफ यू हैव अनदर आप TTSF के लिए एलिजिबल नहीं होंगे बट NRPU के लिए हो सकेंगे. तो इट्स अ कॉल स्पेसिफिक थिंग एक्चुअली. वो जो लिमिटेशन है इट्स अ कॉल स्पेसिफिक थिंग, ठीक है. कि अगर लेट्स सपोज आपको हमने GCF का ग्रांट दे दी है टू यू तो आप नेक्स्ट ईयर दोबारा हम आपको GCF नहीं देंगे क्योंकि वो किसी और को हम प्रेफर करेंगे.
TDF की नेचुरल कंटिन्यूएशन इनटू फुल कमर्शियलाइजेशन के लिए TTSF में नहीं अप्लाई कर सकते?
नहीं, इट्स देखिए TTSF और TDF जो TTSF इज अ फॉलो अप ऑफ TDF है, ठीक है. तो इट्स ऑलमोस्ट द सेम प्रोग्राम जिसमें हमने थोड़ी सी उसकी जो वो जो मैचिंग फंडिंग की रिक्वायरमेंट थी वो उसमें 20% थी, उसको हमने रेज करके 50% किया. तो ऑल द अदर थिंग्स आर समवट सिमिलर, ठीक है. तो हम उसको उसी के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में लेते हैं. When you say commercialization तो हमारा एक और प्रोग्राम है वो भी हमने इधर अनाउंस नहीं किया which we will open up which is called innovator seed funding which is more in towards the last stage of commercialization जिसमें आप अपनी स्टार्टअप कंपनी लॉन्च कर रहे हैं तो उसमें आप you can enter into that program, ठीक है.
Second question था कि जो travel funding है you mentioned the spirit seems to be international research conferences की travel. TDF के अंदर एक गैप था where for example उसकी commercialization के लिए travel to say China was a requirement जो कि TDF में cover नहीं था.
जी वो पिछले प्रोग्राम में ऑफ कोर्स हमारी वो उस तरह की थी लिमिटेशंस, वो हमने अब ये जितने प्रोग्राम हैं इनमें वो खत्म कर दिए.
इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट के लिए अगर जाना पड़ता है so not to a research conference अलाउ होगा?
देखिए हमने जो वर्डिंग वेरी केयरफुली यूज़ की है. जो तो हमारे इंटरनेशनल प्रोग्राम्स हैं मतलब जिस तरह पाक UK गेट में हो गया या हमारा GCF की कॉल है जिसमें हम इंटरनेशनल पार्टिसिपेशन को भी इंकरेज कर रहे हैं. اس میں وی ہیو سیڈ کہ ہم انٹرنیشنل میٹنگس کو بھی آپ کنسیڈر کر سکتے ہیں اینڈ کانفرنسز تو ہوں گی پیپر پریزنٹیشن کے. باقی جو NRB بھی کال ہے تو وہاں پہ وی ول ناٹ فنڈ دا میٹنگس ایکچولی, ٹھیک ہے, لیکن اگر آپ کی کانفرنس پریزنٹیشن کے لیے آپ جانا چاہتے ہیں دیٹ ول بی فنڈیڈ ایکچولی. جو TTSF کی کال ہے اس میں آپ کے پاس دیر آر سم ادر پروویژنز ایکچولی جس میں آپ اس طرح کے فنڈس کو یوز کر سکتے ہیں. فار انسٹنس ہم نے اس میں ایک آپشن رکھی ہے فار مارکیٹنگ ریلیٹڈ ایکسپینسز ایکچولی. تو آپ نے جو ابھی ذکر کر رہے ہیں آئی گیس اٹ از ریلیٹڈ ٹو سم کائنڈ آف آؤٹ ریچ ایکٹیویٹی.
میرے لیے مین اور آئیڈیا واز ٹو جو آپ کے کمپوننٹس کی سلیکشن اور اس کی
نہیں وہ دیکھیں آئی مین اگین یو ہیو ٹو سی کہ اس کے ریزنس کیا ہیں, ٹھیک ہے. تو ہماری کوشش یہ ہے کہ ہم ان چیزوں کو فنڈ کریں وچ آر ڈائریکٹلی لنکڈ ٹو ریسرچ. ڈائریکٹلی لنک سے مراد یہ ہے کہ فار انسٹنس اگر آپ کا پیپر ایک پبلک ایکسیپٹ ہو گیا ہے تو یو وانٹ ٹو ڈسیمنیٹ دیٹ انفارمیشن, وی ول فنڈ دیٹ. ہم 100% آپ یو کین کور اٹ ان یور پروجیکٹ. لیکن اگر آپ کہہ رہے ہیں کہ جی میں نے نیٹ ورکنگ کے لیے جانا ہے کسی یونیورسٹی میں تو وہ دیٹ از یور آپ وہ اٹس اے پری اسٹیج ہے.
آخری سوال ہے وہ یہ ہے کہ when you say 50% contribution by the industrial partners in TTSF in kind or financial contribution, for example, if they are putting in their funds in setting up the industry itself, اور وہ اس کے پیسے ڈال رہے ہیں اور وہ کہتے ہیں کہ اچھا جو R&D یا پروڈکٹ ڈیولپر والا کام ہے وہ آپ کرتے ہیں جی, in lieu of the funding that HEC is providing, کوئی ریکوائرمنٹ ہے on an ongoing basis from the industry for IP کی اس کے لیے پیمنٹ کا یا کوئی ایسی چیز کوئی نہیں ہے. سو انڈسٹریل پارٹنرشپ کی جو کنٹریبیوشن ہے it could be for just setting up the industry for that particular project outcomes.
I mean اس کی انڈسٹری سیٹ اپ تو it's next stage actually, but I can say اس کے for instance آپ پرابلم فارمولیشن میں اینڈ ایون ٹو سم ایکسٹینٹ اس کی ڈیولپمنٹ کے اندر بھی دے کین سپورٹ یو تھرو ان کائنڈ مینس. ان کیش بھی ہو سکتا ہے, ان کائنڈ بھی ہو سکتا ہے. لیکن ہم نے اس میں یہ بھی پروویژن رکھی ہے کہ یو کین ایون کنسیڈر ٹو اے لمیٹڈ ایکسٹینٹ ڈیولپمنٹ کاسٹ, پروٹوٹائپ ڈیولپمنٹ کاسٹ, وہ یو کین ایون کنسیڈر دوز کاسٹ.
میری assumption یہ تھی کہ TTSF is primarily prototype to product stage کے لیے.
جی بالکل, تقریباً ٹیکنالوجی ٹرانسفر ہم اس کو کہہ رہے ہیں
بالکل صحیح.
تو وہ اسی لیول کا ہے. اٹس ناٹ کہ وہ آپ ریسرچ آئیڈیا کو انوینٹ کرنے والی اسٹیج کو ہم اس میں نہیں کر سکتے. اس سے نیکسٹ بیسکلی یہ جو ایک اس میں یورپین لیول پہ اس کو کہتے ہیں ٹیکنالوجی ریڈنس لیول کہتے ہیں, ٹھیک ہے. تو وہ لیولس ہوتے ہیں اسٹارٹنگ فرام 1 to 10 کے قریب. تو یہاں جو TTSF کے اندر ہم کنسیڈر کر رہے ہیں دے آر فرام 5 to 8 DRL.
My name is Dr. Ghulam Mustafa. I'm from University of Education, Lahore. My question is that for IRCG, that project with UK, can we have a PhD UK national and non-faculty member? Can we have a collaborator?
لیکن جو PI کی ریکوائرمنٹ ہے اس میں فیکلٹی ممبر ہونا اس میں.
For PI, for myself it's okay. For collaborator
کے لیے PI on both sides, پاکستانی اینڈ UK, وہ یونیورسٹی اکیڈمک ہونا اس کے لیے.
I'm Dr. Rehan from the University of Veterinary and Animal Sciences. When you are saying the regular faculty members, do the people who are on IPFP or visiting, are they eligible or not?
ہم نے کہا ہے ریگولر مطلب فیکلٹی ممبر, یعنی کہ either they are on contractual basis یا وہ ریگولر اس میں ہیں. تو
It's okay. I did my MSc back in 92-93. Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Zainul Abidin, for inviting me here, and thank you very much, Ijaz, for introducing me. Right. It's actually a very lengthy exercise to learn how to write a grant application, and you only get the right type of skills by practicing So I would just touch upon that, but I'll give you the hints, do's and don'ts. I can highlight what sort of funding opportunities, international ones you have. Nationals, Dr. Zan has covered this morning, the whole team has covered this morning, and Graham was talking about, and British Council representative was explaining it to you. Before going into the whole presentation, I would just tell that there is something what we must inculcate in our organizations, in our institutions, so that is research culture. Dr. Zan, Graham, British Council, Dr. Qasim Malik was here highlighting, we must collaborate. That's the one key word we want if we want to excel in science and technology R&D in Pakistan. Right, so I'm Fazia. I have come back from the UK last year after more than 2 decades, and there I was just telling somebody that there I was working with Imperial College London for the last 15 years before I left. Right, so intended learning outcomes from this tutorial should be: what is the research culture? How to find research and funding opportunities, focusing on international ones. How to write a good grant application. Right, so here we have some, I actually took a screenshot of the Times Higher Education 2020 ranking. So there are about 14 universities of Pakistan which are under the radar of Times Higher Education. You must have heard about Times Higher Education. You? Anybody who hasn't heard about it? Most of you would know that international, there are 2-3 different bodies which actually rate and rank national, international universities. So we are in one of our universities, Quaid-e-Azam University, is in the top 500. It's a good news for us. You know, you will say we're not in top 10, we're not in top 20, but it's a good news for us that we're actually in top 500, because if you had looked at these figures from the last year, we were in 800s and 900s. Quaid-e-Azam University was not there either. Now, there is a hint here. One, why so low? You know, why can't we be in top 100 or top 200? What are we lacking that, you know, we cannot, you know, climb up the progression ladder? Does anybody know? You would have ideas. You know, we are resource limited, we don't have the right type of tools to conduct research, maybe we don't have the ideas. But I think Pakistani people are very intelligent, they have loads of ideas. It's just that the resources are not either well managed, or they don't know the opportunities to avail, and all sorts of things. There's another thing, what we really lack, and what I mentioned right in the beginning, we don't collaborate. Okay, so in the last 15 months, what my analysis is that people are like, you know, they're working in different pockets. So a group is working in LAMS, a group is working in Quaid-e-Azam University, a group is working in ComSets. All of them are, you know, brilliant. You know, they might be publishing in international high impact factor papers, collaborating with the UK or Europe or American or whatever universities of high ranking. But, you know, they're not collaborating with the national partners. And what Dr. Zain was saying this morning, and the team was explaining all about the new funding opportunities with HEC also, they're focusing on consortium building. How do you build up the consortium? You collaborate, you share your data, you share your ideas, you have your professional ethics, you know, like I understand, I have figured out from my, like, whatever people I interact with in Pakistan, they are concerned that their ideas will be stolen, and you know, you will not get the right type of credit, and you know, all sorts of things. Right, that exists, but there must be a plan B to actually overcome those barriers. You have your, you know, you build up a consortium with the sort of people who are like-minded, who would encourage you, who would work with you, and you will excel together. Okay, so what will be the outcome of that? We will climb up the international ratings and rankings. When you get these figures, like the Times Higher Education or QS exercise, or last time in Islamabad somebody came up to me and he said, okay, we also have Shanghai rating and ranking, so we should be focusing on that. I said, why not? Focus on everything. You know, we should be up here on the world stage. You know, we should not be right there. Okay, so if you want to climb up, we need to collaborate. And when you fill in the survey, if you register with Times Higher Education or QS or whatever exercise, if you register with their website, you are not actually ranking and rating yourself, your organization, your institution. You're actually rating and ranking your collaborators university, collaborators college, or collaborators institution. Okay, so you are supporting, like for instance, I am working in translational research, then I am liaising with and I am coordinating with ComSats or NUMS or LUMS or Imperial College London or wherever. So I would be saying, okay, I have my collaborators there. So their survey is picking up the information about the other institutions, then their ranking is going up. So if you're collaborating and you have understanding with each other, you're actually supporting each other. All of you are excelling. That's how Pakistan will excel. Okay, clear? So we have 14 institutions here. The key word is collaborate if we want to excel. Next, what is a research culture? Okay, so I give you a background of this, the Royal College, the Royal Society of the UK. I was working at Imperial College, but Imperial College encourages you for your outreach activities. So if you go out in the community, if you work voluntarily for other organizations, you get your institution gets the brownie points. This is how the rating and ranking also works. Okay, so Imperial is top 10 in the university and they support a lot. So I got this, there was an email circulated from the admin, or I don't know, it just ends up in the inbox. So I contacted Royal Society also. They were actually asking for consultancy sort of thing, like all of the researchers were gathered around the table and they were asked what sort of research barriers are there, what sort of what should we do. They were actually trying to write down their vision 2035. Okay, so in this exercise all sorts of researchers from Cambridge, Oxford, Imperial, King's, up and down the country, they were there, and they came up with this video. Can you play this? Is there, if I click onto this, it will work? Let's see if it works. If not, then I'll just explain.
So what is research culture? Research culture encompasses the behaviours, values, expectations, attitudes and the norms of our research communities. It shapes the ecosystem in which we operate. It influences who is doing research, what research is done, and how that research is communicated. Research culture impacts on a whole range of areas in the research system, including the integrity of research, diversity and inclusion in research, the career paths that researchers follow, reward and recognition, open science, and the ethos of collaboration in the research system. So why is research culture important? Why should we care about research culture? Poor research culture has really serious implications. For example, it can slow progress towards open science, it can discourage interdisciplinarity, and it can inhibit the flow of researchers between academia, government, and industry. It can have detrimental knock-on effects that resonate throughout the research system, affecting the ability to recruit the best researchers and to support an innovative and creative research environment. For all these reasons and more, if you care about the excellence of research, you should also care about the culture in which our research is generated. Why are we talking about it? Currently, there are many individuals and organisations who have been working to address single issues that contribute to research culture. But all of these issues have the same underlying causes, and those are the highly competitive environment, combined with very narrow definitions for success. Let's look at a specific example that illustrates the point. The routine publication of negative results would be a huge benefit to the research community by reducing the need to repeat studies unnecessarily. There are a range of initiatives that have been set up to try to encourage these kinds of publications, but despite all these efforts, current research culture seems only to reward groundbreaking or novel research. So rather than thinking about negative results as a single issue, we should be thinking much more holistically about how to create a culture that both recognises and rewards the full range of activities that characterise high-quality research. What is the Royal Society doing about this? Through our national conversation on what an ideal future research culture might look like, we've already started discussions with the research community, and based on this, we've been talking to government and other organisations across the research landscape about reforming the systems that shape culture. But this isn't just about us, it's also about you. We need you to join the conversation. We've worked with others to develop a whole suite of materials that aim to inspire and enable you to start conversations about research culture where you are. It doesn't matter what role you're in, your level of seniority, we should all of us be asking ourselves, how can I improve research culture?
Does it make sense? Okay, so you must have gathered some keywords from it, but we'll come back to that. Right, so how do we actually establish that research culture? So you must have good research practice. If you, I've got this slide from this website called Nuffield Council on Bioethics. So if you go onto that, you will get a detailed document onto that. And Dr. Zan, I think last time we discussed that this presentation would be on HEC's website. So if you miss any slide, if you want to get hold of any link, you can go onto HEC's site whenever it's available and then download it. So in order to improve onto your good research practice, you need to follow certain codes. So your assessment, it should be broad range criteria, recognition of all sorts of activities, not just the publication, your outreach activities, your community surveys, your where is that lady who was talking about the IP patents, all sorts of, everything counts. You're building up your profile and you're contributing, and science is all about contributing towards the advancement of knowledge. Okay, so careers. So careers is not only like you become an assistant, associate or professor. You can be anything, you're just, as long as you're contributing and you feel content that you're doing something, you're serving the nation and the country, you're doing a good job. So I'll come back to the careers thing later on in a slide. Like you're mentoring, you can be a mentee, you can be a mentor, and then funding of all sorts, I'll come back to that in detail. Research, governance and integrity, and then dissemination is the most important thing. Like if you do not disseminate what you've actually done in your lab or organization, if you don't give a talk, you don't go out and publish, the money goes wasted. We're a limited resources country, so we must be actually making a full bloom noise. Hey, yay, we did this. Okay, so it should be out in public. So it's like your institutions should be focusing on training all of your staff for good research practice. Here is one scenario from Royal Society's workshop. This is just to stimulate your mind. This is based on artistic impression of or expression of Vision 2035. So have a look. What do you find in this one? You can interpret it the way you want. I can see some plants hanging upside down. Maybe he or she is a biotechnologist, doing something. Then I can see some, this thing or something on the tray. I don't know what is it, but maybe there are certain holographic images of the scientists around. Seems like a kitchen, So kitchen is equipped with all sorts of scientific research as well. On the wall there is cutting edge science being tweeted. So just imagine, what we will be in 10, 15 years time, 20 years time internationally. So are we ready to keep the pace? Can we be like that? Can we catch up? Up to you, okay? So the more you try, the better you will get. So certain other examples from artistic expression. So when we had these workshops with the Royal Society, we had one artist sitting around the table along with the scientists. So whatever feedback we were giving, the artist was just drawing something on the, like scribbling and drawing something on the notebooks, and they produced this thing based on the feedback. What could it be? It's a wheel of funding. Okay, so these are different areas. So these are different areas. In the future, you will not be getting funding if you're only working for chemistry or biology or physics or maths or social sciences or one area. Okay, the next era is for multidisciplinary, cross-disciplinary funding. So if you are in chemistry, when I mention translational research, so just think along, translational research, what is it? Like you have the knowledge about certain mechanisms, what the drug target could be, like chemists would know what molecules can be synthesized, a physician would know something else. So all of you as a collaborative consortium, you actually devise plan for a research proposal and you apply. So if you go as a consortium from different disciplines, you are much more likely to get international funding. Okay, so just start preparing for that, not only in one area but cross-disciplinary. It's written in bold on the first ring, failure. So when you watch that little clip about research culture, she did mention about failure. So we must embrace our failures. Science, you have a eureka moment, but most of the time we fail. We don't, succeed. So not to worry about that. Failures. You learn something from that. You move on and you plan for the next strategy. So how can we, rise again? So you must embrace your failures. It's a memorial to failure. This was about the Nobel Prize, that when you do cross-disciplinary research, in the future, one person from one area will not get the Nobel Prize. This is what the feedback said. So different contribution from the society, other areas of research. So this is how the whole pie becomes. This is something else. Like in the future, you might not have to go to a lab to get your test done. You can have a lab cab at home and you can send your samples to the laboratory. This is some novel, something different. This is something about the public ballot. In the future, what we are envisioning in the UK was that HEC might not be deciding the themes that we're only focusing on climate change or this and that and that. There would be a public ballot, and people, based on their awareness, would be saying, right, we need research in air pollution and impact on this. We need research on drone attacks or something. This is written here. So if you go onto the Royal Society website, you'll get to see all of this. I'm just telling you that this is where the international countries are heading. So we need to prepare ourselves. We're already, far behind international research levels. But if we know where we stand, we can address the issues and we can move on, okay? So when I mentioned about the careers, so these pathways are different. So you are teaching, you are researching, you are mentoring, you're engaged with all sorts of things, you're contributing towards policy making, you're actually advising, you're advocating to the parliamentarians, so that sort of thing. You know, there are multiple roles of an academic person and researcher. So your take-home message from this first part is collaborations, very important, multidisciplinary, networking. If you do network, you do multidisciplinary research, and teamwork, very important. Novelty is the key. If you don't have a novel idea, there's no point wasting your resources on that. So the next thing is research and funding opportunities, especially international ones. So what you need for that, to acquire international funding, of course you want, one thing you would have is your academic achievements, your research experience, your outreach activities. Now the thing is, in Pakistan we're not that flexible. Sometimes we're saying, we don't tick this checkbox, we are not properly qualified, we don't have the right type of research experience. But when I say about establishing or forming or developing a consortium collaborative link, among you would have all sorts of skills what is required to deliver that project. Okay? So it's you're facilitating each other, you're covering up the missing links if you collaborate. So you can, academically, I'm pretty sure that Pakistanis are wonderful. Okay, so they have ideas as well. So research experience, right? If you have an opportunity to go abroad and learn some skills from Imperial or any European country or America or wherever, well-equipped lab, you do get the vision, you do get the exposure. But just in case, if you don't have it, have a partner from there who would have the skills, and you can have an exchange, you can visit. There's so many possibilities that you can plan, and I'll come back to you how to actually establish that collaborative link. It's not that rocket science, it's not that difficult, it's just that sometimes we do not know where the opportunity is. So if somebody gives a hint to Pakistani, I'm dead sure that you can do it, you can nail it, okay? So the outreach activities involve all sorts of things, you know. In the UK, I'm talking more about the UK because my life, like more than 2 decades, was spent there. But we focus too much on voluntary activities, as I did with Royal Society. So that sort of activity, you feel that you're contributing, you're actually disseminating whatever you've learned. So your outreach activities are very important. If you do a community work, for instance, outside there is a lot of rubbish, so you group together and you pick up the rubbish and you make a use of that, make compost. That's your outreach activity. That counts. You don't seem it. You don't feel that it's worth, but it's actually a great service to your nation and to your country if you do that sort of activity. Right, so funding opportunities. First of all, every institution, every university, every college has some institutional internal funding, but that's limited. Then we also, like most of the universities, even outside Pakistan, they focus on external funding. Internal funding is not that much. So external funding, which could be non-commercial or commercial, venture capitalists, if you've heard about it. So if we focus on, let me just say that HEC has announced, say, around 200 funding opportunities, like 100 plus multiple. So there would be maximum 200, or there might be 500 in the future. But that's not enough for our scientific society. We have so many researchers working up and down the country. They don't have access to the equipment, so they're actually striving. I meet people, they're actually striving. They want to know where the right type of tool is available. They could go and conduct your research. So we need more funding, and that's only possible if we make use of our international tabs. Here, most of the funding bodies on the screen are from the UK and Europe, some from the United States, But one thing is very much important in this scenario, and that is your international collaborative partner. If you establish that link, it's much easier. Build up your profile. Okay, build up your profile. How do you actually build up your profile? For instance, somebody here was working on biomass or something, can't remember, met somebody. So if you go on to Mendeley.com, do you use Mendeley.com? Okay, it's a reference manager program. That's a free one, so I think I love it because you can have it on your machine, you can sync it to your online library, and then you can access your references from anywhere in the world. So that's actually resolved our old age problem. When I was doing my PhD back in 98, we used to have EndNote, and we're carrying our floppy disk with reference library, and it gets crashed and you've lost that. Not anymore. Phew. Thank you to the IT. So if you go onto Mendeley.com, in addition to your libraries, you also have a tab for funding opportunities. Okay, so whatever your research interests are, you look for those funding opportunities, you apply for that. But then in order to find the international collaborations, your area of research, if it's sciences, if it's clinical or basic or whatever, you go to PubMed, you Google it, you look for the references, and in the list of the references, if you look at the authors, okay, where are they based? You write an email to them. There is a corresponding author. You write an email to them. It's very easy. You know, internationally, they reply, they respond very quickly if they are interested. Most of the time they are, because they also want to do they also want to have their outreach activities. If they don't respond, don't get disheartened. Write an email to another one. Okay? So if you write an email to 5 of them, somebody will definitely respond. Tap them. Okay? Ask them. It's very easy. I wrote an email to a Norwegian lady and I say, I want to establish that biobank here, and I want to work on colorectal cancer because Pakistan has early onset of colorectal cancer. My sister died of that as well. And she said, yeah, that's wonderful. Okay. Right. Do you know, I asked her, do you know if there is a funding opportunity, a funding call for that? And she said, yeah, actually Norway has a very good funding call, but that's closed right now. I'll CC to my other colleague and she will inform you as soon as the new call is. This is how you establish collaboration. It was fairly easy for me to drop an email, introduce myself, this is what I want to do, there is a problem, a genuine problem within Pakistan. Okay, so we're actually focusing on the problems what our country and our population is facing. So have your problem, have your question around that area, and then drop an email to them. They'll respond. You'll get a very positive, trust me, you'll get a very positive response. So EPSRC, BBSRC, Arts and Humanities, actually I haven't got the links behind these things, so maybe I should put the links behind these. So whenever you click onto that, that will take you straight to the funding calls. And then it's very easy. When you go on to the Royal Society or Arts and Humanities Research Council or NERC or whatever, there are different themes and there is an email address or a phone number underneath. So if you drop an email to that email address, they respond to you. They tell you whether your area of research falls within their remit or not, or if they like your idea, they can actually put you in contact with the right type of person too. Okay, so just give every single thing a try. Don't get disheartened or demotivated at any stage in your life. There are opportunities, there are contingency plans everywhere. There are other funding bodies like Department for Environment, Food and Rural Health, Department of Health and Social Care, Department for Transport. I haven't put DFID here, Department for International Development. If you go onto their site, they often have quite a few grants for Pakistan also. Okay, so World Bank has already, Graham has already, touched upon that in the morning. There's a very important call from the EU, the STARS, Horizon 2020. If you go on to Horizon, I'll go on to the next slide and tell you a bit more about Horizon 2020, but I must touch upon this Erasmus Plus program. I attended one of the workshops about that. There are several themes within this for mobility. Actually, I would pass it on to Dr. Zan, and he's best in this one. Please, could you? Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. So I think I just wanted to highlight some of the programs that Erasmus is offering right now actually, and they have a deadline in February. So please go to the website and see what are the opportunities. And it's kind of a misconception that even I had before I attended an event that was arranged by them in Nepal. So they have exchange programs for faculty members, they have exchange programs for researchers, for students. They have actually even some kind of a grant programs for capacity building of higher education sector as well actually. And each one of those grants are up to £1 million, 1 million euros actually, for 3 years duration as well. So they have a full menu of different opportunities for early stage researchers, for more senior researchers, for students, and even for at the institutional level as well actually. So please disseminate this information as much as you can. We have already tried to address that. Another thing that I wanted to highlight was that during one of those presentations I came to know that Pakistan is not performing very good actually during the last 5 years, especially in the Erasmus program. In one of the program, they gave almost 12,000 scholarships for exchange programs to the Asian region only, which is actually east of Pakistan, all the countries east of Pakistan, so not covering the Middle East actually. And what I found out was that out of those 12,000, Pakistan was able to achieve only 245 grants actually. Nepal had more than 500. Vietnam had 2,500 grants within that program. Even a country as small as Laos was able to achieve the same performance as we have got actually. So there is that raised a number of questions in my mind. That one, it could be that the relevant people have not got that information, and the other thing, it could be that the people who applied their applications were not good enough actually. So I think we need to take all these international opportunities very seriously as well, so that all these things could not, we have these opportunities available if we really want to get that. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sam. That's really helpful. So I will go on to the Horizon 2020. There are 3 pillars of that, and if you go through each of the pillar 1 is excellent science, pillar 2 is industrial leadership, pillar 3 is societal challenges. So we must focus on societal challenges. We want societal impact of whatever research we do. Okay, so we're not in 1960s when glucose test was like maybe in 50 or something, people would do a test on glucose levels of a person and they would get a paper and that's it. And okay, that was a great contribution at the time, but now we are in 2019 and we're looking at the 2035. We must be actually focusing on all of the challenges we face today so that we could address them at the right time. Nice. Did anybody say anything to me? Right, okay, sorry. Okay, so we have food security, a bigger problem, transport, energy, climate action, society, security. Security is a big thing. How many of you are working in artificial intelligence? Good. We want more. So cybersecurity is a big issue. Like AI is the thing of the future. In the next 50 years, maybe a robot would be addressing people, not people, robots like you. Something, so you would be replaced by robot or something. I don't know. But everywhere in health and all sorts of departments, we would have much more involvement of AI. So cybersecurity is going to be a big issue. So why not prepare ourselves? Okay. So please go on to the EU site, Horizon 2020, look for that. When you actually register for Erasmus, you'll have access to this as well. It's on the same site, okay? So here I would just tell you something about other funding opportunities which are available for Pakistanis as well. Aga Khan Foundation has some international scholarships. DFID is here. Small Charities Challenge for Bill and Melinda Gates. They are sponsoring a lot of fund for healthcare. NIH USA, UAE Science and Technology Ministry had recently launched, and actually the closing date was in October, so we've missed that, but maybe in the future. There are various charities. Internationally, there are charities which actually give funds. Say for instance, Autism Society, some Society for Cardiology related, or asthma related, you name it, mental health related, you name it. And there are charities which actually give you small funding just to do a pilot study or something. That is very important. Get a small amount, do your prelim study, pilot study, collect that prelim data, and then based on that apply for a bigger funding. That's how you do research, okay? Now with all of these fundings, NIH, UAE, all of this, you need to have a principal investigator in the other country, not from Pakistan. Okay, so you need collaborative partners from the international bodies. The principal investigator is there. You can be a co-principal investigator, but the funding will end up in your institution also. So it's a win-win situation. You never lose. You build up your profile. You're contributing to every aspect of your research culture. Your institution is going up, your country is going up, your career progression is going up, your career is progressing, and your profile is building up. Okay, so collaboration. So take-home messages. You collaborate, you need to have multidisciplinary research, you network, your teamwork, originality, novelty, the same keywords what I mentioned last time also. So keeping these in your mind, let's just discuss. Oh, I forgot one thing. Dr. Zain, I remember from our last meeting that, is it NUMS who would have access to this database of funding bodies that you would LUMS. Okay, LUMS. So, yeah, please could you tell them, because that's very important.
Yeah, so that's an initiative that we are working on right now in order to maybe build up some kind of a list of all these grant opportunities around the world actually. Maybe one for national level and one for international levels. But before that is put in place, the reason I mentioned LUMS was that I was visiting one of their centers, and I came to know through their audit that they already have their system in place. I have bought the links for that, but I found out that some of the calls, it was not very updated yet. So I have requested them to actually to make it more up to date, and we'll see how we can incorporate that in our own website actually, so that you can access it through HEC website. Yeah. But before that thing will be in place, I think nowadays it's not the question of whether you have that information or not. You can just search it on your mobile, on your laptop, or any other medium actually, and you will get to know about. So we are just giving you some keywords that you can search for actually. And maybe we are still missing some of these, but you can take it on your own actually, because you should be aware of all these opportunities related to your own discipline. Maybe we are still not missing some of those. So I think it's also your responsibility to search for these.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zan. So I must highlight that, when I was at Imperial, we used to get an email from our research office with all of the funding calls in the next 2 months or something. So they would, or maybe whatever upcoming grants, whatever upcoming funding opportunities, so that you're prepared for that. People would tell each other like these are the opportunities, they would start preparing for that. So if you have research office, you should actually convince them to arrange that for you. If not, then as Dr. San said, Google it. I was in the Twitter and I sent a message to Norwegian ambassador in Islamabad and I said, actually he follows me, so I sent him a direct message. Do you know any funding calls from Norway? And he sent me a link and he said, I don't know, but here is the link to Norway Research Council. So you go onto that site and there are multiple calls. Okay, so if you know who could be your collaborative partner in Norway, just tell them, okay, this is the call, I would like to apply. Can we collaborate on that? Trust me, it'll work. Okay, so the budding early career scientists, this is how it all works. Right, so writing a grant proposal, as I said in the beginning, it comes with practice. Practice. Even if you are a professor and you have won so many grants, it's not a guarantee that you will succeed in your next grant application. Okay, the success rate nationally, internationally, everywhere very low. Okay, so maybe 10%, 20%, depends on the competitive nature of the funding calls. So there are certain do's and don'ts that you do or you don't do when you're writing a grant proposal. But let's just see what is the research process of the research proposal. I'm sure all of you are engaged with some sort of research. Even if you are not, you would have some ideas. So once you have an idea, then you discuss it with your friends, your colleagues, your collaborative partners, or whoever you want. But please have a like-minded person. Do not group up with a person or with a team of people who actually are very negative or who discourage you. Look for very positive people. That's very important. You must have very positive people around you, who are always encouraging you or helping you. So have your idea, discuss it with that, and then go on to maybe Mendeley.com or the different sites where I've just mentioned, and then you look for a grant call. Look for, say, grants which will be available in 6 months' time or something. You need time. You do not want to rush. Okay, when you're writing a grant proposal and you rush, it seldom works. Okay, so you find a grant application and then you go through all of the guidance notes and find out what is there that you have and what is the missing link. You do your homework. Very important. You do your homework and you start drafting your proposal. So once you've drafted a proposal, get it reviewed by your friends, by your collaborators. If you're sitting at home, your life partner, your parents, your children, anybody can actually go through your grant proposal, because if they can't understand that, if a layperson cannot understand that, you will not be able to have a societal impact of that research. You know what I mean? Like your issue should be very much, down to earth, but address a problem in the society of your community. Okay? So get somebody to review your draft proposal. You keep on topping it up or editing it until it's the final shape. And then you apply for that funding call using letter of intent or whatever they ask for, or outline of the project. And then once you've been through that and they have shortlisted you, you then prepare a specific proposal, and then you submit the proposal. You're lucky, you get shortlisted. If you're not lucky, don't worry, there is another call waiting for you. Apply for that. Okay? Never stop. Your perseverance will pay. Once you've been shortlisted and the funding body wants you to come and present your proposal, prepare for that. If you're lucky, you get awarded. If you're not, apply again to a different body. You execute your project, you deliver milestones, submit final report, audit is done, you disseminate your results, the whole process is complete, you've got a tamga in your CV, okay? You've delivered this. So that's the whole process. But in order to deliver that process, it's very cumbersome, it's not that easy. So you need to focus on certain things. Your research idea, proper rationale, okay? What's the originality? It should be of significance. There should be an impact of that, societal impact I'm mostly talking about. And your methodology should be very relevant. It should be novel, it should be cutting edge. You can't do a simple biochemical assay what you used to do back in 1950s. You have to adopt the conventional technical tools as well. If you do not use that, you will, I'm afraid you will not be able to publish in an international high impact factor papers, because they will say, oh, the technique you've used is not is gone obsolete because it's not that sensitive, it's not that reproducible. What would you do? You cannot go back to the lab and redo your project. So you think before you actually attempt that. Feasibility, equipment, human expertise, risks involved, milestones, time frame. You have to think about every single thing, nitty-gritty of the project. Okay, so as I said in the beginning, I always say feasibility. If you cannot do something in your lab, your partner, your collaborator must be able to. Okay, so among all of you collaborative partners, you should be able to deliver everything. Okay, so think along that time. And then deliverables, whether you can deliver or not. If you can't, you haven't thought through. Okay. So, certain do's of the proposal writing. Before you actually write, be aware of the funding landscape and the open calls and deadlines, including strategic priorities. This is crystal clear. If you know what you're talking about, if you know what your idea is, if you know what your collaborative partners are going to be, you would know this already. So you develop and use your personal relationships. When you are networking, you establish that personal relationship. Not everybody is capable of doing that, because I know our people, especially girls, I'm not having a bias, but our girls are a bit shy. They're reluctant to ask. If they get no, what would they do? One thing I learned from my life, just ask. Nobody's gonna kill you if you ask. The maximum they can do is say no, okay? And no never should be taken personal. Just ask. Ask anybody. There would be people who would be very happy to help you. Okay, so this is a thing which you should practice in your life. Boys are very, they just go, they think, oh yeah, let's do it. They're ready to do it. They help each other out. Sorry, am I biased towards you? No. That's our personalities. But our girls, not only Pakistani girls, international UK girls are also, European girls are also a bit reluctant. So I must mention here, when I was at Imperial, we had a training workshop, career development workshop for women. And there was a workshop of 4 sessions of that workshop, and that workshop is called Springboard Women Development Training. Okay, so with Springboard development workshops, you learn all of these things. Don't use the same path every morning. If you're going to your work or to your institution, use a different path, because you come across other opportunities. Okay, so gathering like this, just don't sit with the people you sit with them every day. Go and sit with somebody else. You get to know them, and there might be a networking possibility there. This is how you build up your team. Okay, then carefully consider your funding mechanism. So you go onto their funding body's site, and then you look for the funding opportunity and see what they want. Prepare yourself. Homework is very important. and be ready when the call comes. So you should already have a rough draft. Whoever was saying about this British Council call and the extension of the deadline, yeah, if we are well prepared ahead of time, whatever call comes, you would know this draft can go into that and you can apply straight away. Okay, don't do the last minute thing. Last minute thing never works. Right, so stage 2 is writing a specific proposal. After you've done the homework, you're on to the next stage. Be clear about what you want to do, why do you want to do it, what you really need, and why the funder should support you to do it. Okay, so you need to make a case. If you're not clear in your head, funder will be able to assess it fairly quickly. He or she would know, okay, no, there is ambiguity in the proposal, not properly thought through, no thoughtful process behind it, so they will not shortlist you. So be prepared. That's what you do in your before writing stage. Okay, so make sure you get across everything you need in the abstract or introduction or vision summaries of JES form. Now, JES form is like internationally, if you apply to MRC, Wellcome Trust, European e-portals, so they have joint electronic systems, so you do everything online. So I'm very happy that HEC has, I'm really proud of you that we've gone electronic and we've got automated. It's a very positive thing. So internationally also, it's very hectic. If you apply for UK body funding, like I've only got the experience from Imperial College. Our accounts department has to be told 8 weeks ahead of the deadline, because they have to do you sit with them and they have to do all of the costing sheet and and the overheads and all of these things. So they need that form, this JES system. They actually want that form from accounts department to be attached to that. So it's, you have to be well prepared. So you pay attention to impact, societal impact. Make full use of the limited page allowance of your proposal. If they ask you for 500 words, write 500 words. Don't just finish off 200. If you can say something more about the research, your idea, your research challenge, just make use of that. Don't leave it because you might be missing on some point. Sorry. So present as much leverage as you can. Ensure that your proposal complies with all formal requirements. As the who was saying, British Council? No, who was saying? Yeah. So it should comply with all of the formal requirements. Yeah, Abrar said that. Yeah, thank you. Came back to me. So if you don't, then you might not be shortlisted. So be very careful. Get someone else to review and critique your proposal. As I said, your collaborative partners, you can get help from your friends, your family, everywhere. And once the proposal is submitted, stage 3, if you are lucky and you are shortlisted and your grant has been reviewed by certain referees, you'll get some feedback. So you need to respond to those referees. Undertake mock interview where appropriate. Like, not all of the funding bodies will invite you for your presentation. Some will do, and if they invite you, you prepare your interview, your presentation. You can organize that with your peers at work or your collaborative partners. It's very important. It helps. You think about all sorts of questions anybody can ask. And then don't restrict yourself to a single funder. This is very important. Just don't submit to grant A, grant B, grant C at the same time. Wait for A's outcome, and then apply to B and then to C. Okay, go step by step, because grant A funder, if they reject your call, if they reject your proposal, you would have some reviews from the referees. So you address those issues in your next proposal and then submit it. It'll only improve it. Take the negative reviews positive. Okay, very important. And then begin building new project consortium only after a call has been announced. That's a killer thing. Okay, I insist, do your homework first. Okay, so you are planning and writing everything at least a few months before the next funding call. So your consortium, your collaborative partners should be in place ahead of time. Or that would reflect, when you write, that actually reflects in your writing. Don't waffle. If they ask you for 500 words, be precise and succinct, just to the point, very much clarity in your head that would reflect in your writing. If you waffle, when I read it, I would know it. You've been waffling, it's rubbish. I wouldn't support that. And when you're writing, some people are really arrogant and condescending. So yeah. So when you are actually, if you have a collaborative partner or a consortium, and one of you by default, personality-wise, is arrogant, it will reflect in his or her writing as well. So yeah, just be polite and fix that issue. Don't be arrogant in writing or even when you're replying or responding to your referee reviewer. And don't leave JES summaries to the last minute. Executive summaries are very important, and the layman summaries are very important too. Actually, layman summary, I give more weightage to the layman summary, because if you can't convince a common ordinary person what this grant is all about, there's little chance that you will get success. Right, pathways to impact as an afterthought. So when you're filling in your grant application, you should know the socio-economic benefit of that. Don't leave it to the last minute. You do your grant, you write your everything, and then you're sitting, oh gosh, what is going to be the economic outcome or benefit of this grant? So it should be very clear in your head. Don't do any research which is without this benefit. You should be very careful about your IP, what you disclose and you don't disclose. Suppose your grant is going to churn out a couple of IPs. Your idea has an IP too. So be very careful. There should be a legal binding for that. Consult your IP department and take them on board when you're applying for anything which will have any patent. And don't submit proposal at the last minute. Actually, I confess I've done this 1 minute before the deadline. I was lucky that I got that, but it could have been, I could have missed it. So yeah, don't do this. I learned from that. I don't leave it to the last minute. The very important point, don't insult your reviewers in response to referees. Some people, they do actually, and you never take it personal. Never ever take it personal. People have different personalities. Some people are very difficult. So just take them as they are. You can't fix them. You just control what's controllable, and that's you. That's your personality, your idea, everything. So you just focus on yourself, be positive, take the negativity as positive as ever. And then that's it. Finally, I will just acknowledge Dr. Francis Downey and Dr. Katie Raymer, because they are the one who have been engaged with me, because when I came to Pakistan last year and I organized a workshop at my university, Francis was the one who was coordinating with me. And this is really strange that I left a message to Francis last year. I left a direct message to on Twitter to Francis last year. This morning she had replied, "How's the research culture going?" And I was like, wow, how did she know that I'm still working on it? And Katie actually wrote a blog and she updated what we are doing. And special thanks to Dr. Tariq Banouri, Chairman HEC, because I had dropped an email to Dr. Tariq, and that's how I ended up in contact with Dr. Zainul Abidin. And sorry, close your ears, Dr. Zain, I want to say something, because when I came to Pakistan last year, because I'm part of the private university, I was like, what is this HEC doing? You know, they don't fund every private university. They only focus on public universities. And then, you know, I was like, who do I contact? There were so many barriers, and I never took any initiative then. But when I dropped an email out of, you know, pure luck, that I dropped an email to Dr. Tariq, and then Dr. Zan replied the same day, and I was like shocked. How does it happen in Pakistan that people respond? Because I don't know, not very many people respond fairly quickly in Pakistan, but here is our organization which is responding very quickly. And Dr. Zan, I must tell you this, you can open your ears now. One of my friends in the UK, he said to me he wanted some information from HEC, a totally different department, and I said, oh, drop them an email, let's see. He dropped an email at 4:45 Pakistan Standard Time, or no, maybe 3 o'clock or something. Within an hour and a half, he had got the reply in the UK, and he had forwarded it to me, and I was like, oh my God, so every department in HEC is working. Thank you very much. I'm very happy. Sorry, it doesn't happen with you? But I'm telling you, this is my personal, and this is my friend. He didn't mention that he knows me, or I don't know any other department in HEC. So
you can got the response from the audience there.
right, okay. No, but I'm telling you, it worked with him. So and then I actually found out from Dr. Zan that HEC is going very much like electronic, automated. So all of the things are being addressed fairly quickly through email. So they're going green as well. If my understanding is correct, we should cut down on paper. Like, you know, every other person is taking paper notification everywhere. So we should have the email thing. People should step into the 21st century and go green. Okay. So thank you very much, everyone. If you have questions, just ask. I'll be happy to address. Yes, please.
It means that it takes like months in order to prepare a project, right? And in the recent policy, they are saying that there will be no benefits to the PI. So it means that we are spending months in writing proposals that we will do, and we will have no benefit at all.
Right, okay.
So,
yes.
Are we getting something by writing this?
Okay. Yes. Yes. Because whatever you're delivering is actually you're contributing to the advancement of science. You're actually having a societal impact. You're serving the community. You're serving your Pakistan. Iska sawab milega. But having said that, telling you, money, don't only count pennies. When you're actually delivering a research grant, a research proposal, it's your CV, it's your profile that's going up. You'll be getting more funding, your institution will be grooming, you'll be getting awards from your institution, you'll be recognized, your name will be there online until the doomsday. Okay, so don't just say that if you don't get 10,000 rupees extra in your salary, there's no point, investing your life. If you're a motivated scientist and you really want to contribute you really want to serve your people and country, you'll be selfless. You won't be counting pennies.
So maybe I can add to that. So I think Fozia was kind enough to spare her time and she's doing all these things on voluntary. And just ask, to respond to your question, she's not getting paid for this thing that she's doing. She's just doing it for the benefit of the community. That's the spirit that we want you to develop in yourself as well.
We all are volunteers. We just came here just to listen. This is also our spirit at the same time.
Appreciate that. So you can do another thing. When you go back to your institution, please convey these messages, and it's a word of mouth that will tell everybody, here are the opportunities, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to improve our country and people. Thank you.
I have a question. How will you analyze that organization or institution is capable for getting funding? Second question कि अगर आप let's suppose इंडस्ट्री और यूनिवर्सिटी में काफ़ी ज़्यादा डिफरेंस होता है, तो यूनिवर्सिटी इज मोर ओरिएंटेड अबाउट रिसर्च, तो आप किस तरह डिफरेंशिएट करें कि ये इंडस्ट्री कैपेबल है या कंपनी कैपेबल है या स्टार्टअप है कि ये फंडिंग दे सकता है, और इसमें यही प्रश्न है।
Yes, please. I'll top up. You say that and then I'll top up.
देखिए, हम तो यूनिवर्सिटी को तो ज़ाहिर हमें पता है कि उसकी क्या रिसर्च की क्वालिफिकेशन है। इंडस्ट्री को तो हम एवेल्यूएट कर ही नहीं। इंडस्ट्री को तो आप लोग लेके आएंगे, आपने डिटरमिन करना है कि ये इंडस्ट्री जो है ये मेरे लिए यूजफुल है या नहीं। तो वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू फंड इंडस्ट्री, हम ना फंड कर रहे हैं और ना ही उसको हम इवेलुएट करेंगे। इट्स योर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एज अ रिसर्चर टू कम अप विद, और एक और चीज़ हमें अंडरस्टैंड करनी है, इंडस्ट्री आपने खुद कहा कि इंडस्ट्री जो है वो बड़ी केपेबल होती है टू असेस कि जो भी पैसा वो खर्च करते हैं उसको काउंट फॉर करते हैं, ठीक है। तो हम इसीलिए कह रहे हैं कि हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट ये है कि आप मैचिंग फंडिंग फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री लेके आएंगे, जितने हम आपको पैसे देंगे उतनी आपको मैचिंग फंडिंग करनी पड़ेगी। दैट मीन्स कि इफ़ एनी इंडस्ट्री इज़ एक्चुअली गिविंग यू दिस काइंड ऑफ अ सपोर्ट, so they are really interested in that idea, and that's the value that we want to assess as well.
Okay, can I ask another question?
Sure.
Okay, I've been myself an Erasmus Plus scholar. The universities really need an agreement between the European countries and with the Erasmus Plus in order to start or sending the
Sorry,
scholars.
say that again.
The universities really need a learning agreement, Erasmus, especially for Erasmus Plus. You need a learning agreement between the universities in order to start this process. So who in our universities is responsible for that? Is it HEC or is it the local university?
It's the universities. All these agreements are done at the university level. HEC has no role to play in that. We can only, I mean, the role that we are playing is to inform you that these are the opportunities actually that you need to avail. HEC has no role in interfering in the administration of the university. Can you raise it?
Berry University. My question is relating to the R&D framework regarding the data sciences. There are different venues from where we extract data. Like if I talk about regarding our thesis or the research proposal that we are doing right now, we have Emerald stores that are available and GS store like which the HEC has given access to us. My question is exactly this, is how we can filter the data, because data sciences is a lot of data, we have millions of journals in it. The related topic through which we are searching, it will be easy for us if the filtration of the data takes minimum time so that we can opt for our abstract and lead to the literature review and finally to the conclusion. So how we can, how the data sciences, which way can help out to sort out, to minimize the impact of data. Because there is a lot of data and we have to extract that. But the data that we put in our thesis, that should be limited and up to the mark. So filtration of data, how is it possible? Because there are a lot of other platforms as well.
Do you want to?
Okay, I didn't get it. Like, data sets from where?
For example, HEC has given us access to the different portfolio. Like we have Emerald there, we have JSTOR, from where we extract the different papers. Then we nourish these papers and we write on our own proposals and articles.
State of the art survey.
Right, like systematic reviews or something?
Exactly.
Is doing that. And you get more weightage if you publish like that. But having said that, there is one thing, Dr. Zain, I would like to point out because it's a bigger problem in Pakistan. We do not get the baseline data sets, not the baseline data sets. So if that different people here sitting in the audience are doing their research and they have some data, because we don't collaborate, we don't share, so there is a problem. So maybe we need to think about what can we do.
Yeah. So I think that maybe we can think about. I mean, I know there is an initiative taken at LUMS actually as part of our National Center for Big Data and Cloud Computing. So they are building an open data platform, which I think will be inaugurated probably in 3 weeks' time, and there will be an event that will be conducted here. And
that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Actually.
So I think, I mean, there are activities happening in silos. What we can facilitate you is to connect those dots actually. But I mean, you can take that initiative on your own actually. LUMS is just next door. I mean, it's still in the same city. You don't need to wait for Islamabad people to come here and tell you that your data center is here.
Thank you very much for this excellent presentation. It was quite informative, and I'm sure it must have riled up a lot of people in this auditorium right now to apply for international seeding project. What they do is that they take equipment from different industries, which has been regarded this, they have some problems with that equipment, or they have just
Discard.
They can't use it anymore in the industry. So they donate it to countries like Pakistan. They say they use this word, these technologically lagging countries.
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan has been banned from those. I've applied in a lot of those because I'm developing a lab and I really want good. People have gone on to third generation sequencers and they're still stuck with a Sanger, the one we read in Wikipedia, still stuck with that. So it's not easy. It's very nice. It's very interesting to see this presentation. It really riles you up. But it's not easy. Not for us. Because what the seeding company, I have this email in my account. They say people in Pakistan, they tend to pick apart these machines and they take out the parts and they sell them on the black market. So we can't give you these machines. It's impossible. And then when you go out and you go apply for funding, then you have like 40 lakhs for this machine. 40 lakhs for that machine. And our children, they're stuck with doing the stacking gel and page, which these papers are not getting published. Every single day they're getting rejections for our papers that the technique you have used is an old technique. What you have done has been done, like you said, in the 70s. There's nothing. Sometimes I get so disheartened, there are no opportunities. It's very hard.
Right. I appreciate that. There are barriers, quite a lot of barriers in Pakistan. There are issues, genuine issues, I agree, but there are, plan Bs as well. I came to Pakistan last year, the lab is barely covered with equipment, so I was like, gosh, how do I equip that? So because I had worked in one lab for so long, I wrote to them, look, pound has gone, this and that, and do you have this spare one, can I have it? And 2 weeks later I got the reply, yeah, you can have it, paid the transport shipping. So, you just don't stick to one, you apply to several, and there are doors which will open for you. So the take home message is just be positive and keep trying. I say perseverance pays, I'm a very positive, I'm a very optimist person, I never ever look at the glass half empty. And things work. There might be a delay, but it will work. Just try this Erasmus Plus. There's so many opportunities we don't tap, just give it a try. Once again, for me, I promise you it'll work, and I'll come back and I'll ask you.
I'll tell you one thing. This friend of mine, she has been to Yale for HEC. I went to Johns Hopkins for HEC. We went there, we learned a lot, but ever since we came back, our email boxes are filled with rejections.
So, can I respond to that?
basically one more important thing, like HEC always said, we encourage the new ones, we encourage the new scientists or the early careers. But there are a number of barriers like from 2 or 3 years, I just saw like they prefer to grant to professors or associate professors, not even to APs. I mean, the least number is even to APs. So I mean, 2 or 3 times.
मैं पहले वो वाला क्वेश्चन उनको एड्रेस कर दूँ. आई थिंक एक द वे टू it's one of the solution actually, as Dr. Saiban has also mentioned, कि हम आपको कह रहे हैं कि you build your international collaborative network actually. If you have been to Yale and to Hopkins, John Hopkins, I would recommend you to ask them to collaborate with you actually. You will get the same level of access to all these banned things that you cannot have it here, but through them you can probably access those things. So that's one workaround for that. If there are some specific things, you can send me an email actually, and I'll try to see कि उनकी यहाँ पे जो diplomatic staff है उनके साथ I can work it out कि हम किस तरीके से उन चीज़ों को open कर सकते हैं. Again, I'm not promising anything because they must have some reasons because of which ये चीज़ें हुई होंगी. ठीक है, उसमें हमारी भी अपनी भी weaknesses कुछ होंगी जिसकी वजह से ये चीज़ें होंगी. आपका जो कंसर्न था कि हम प्रोफेसर्स को करते हैं, देयर इज नो स्टेटेड पॉलिसी अबाउट दैट.
Yes, that is not, but the preference is given because
वो
I have a personal experience. I just saw many people when they present their proposals, so they know everyone, even they know their reviewers, they know the members. When they came out, Zaba was sitting over there. Oh, my project is accepted. I mean, how they knows? I'm not question marking. I'm just giving you my no reservation.
ठीक. नहीं, and I understand that, and I can relate with you.
I also second this.
ठीक. जो भी practices रही हैं, it will be a new process actually now on. ठीक. And it will be transparent of personal और वो जो relationships थी उस तरह की चीज़ें. ठीक है. If somebody has a conflict of interest, वो हमारे साथ साइन करें, रिव्यूअर्स हमारे साथ साइन करेंगे. इफ़ दे वॉलेट दैट एग्रीमेंट तो हमारे पैनल से वो रिमूव हो जाएंगे. ठीक है. सो वी विल टेक अ वेरी स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. इवन हमारे जो कुछ और लोगों के कंसर्न्स ये थे कि हमारे स्टाफ के भी कुछ इस तरह के कंसर्न्स थे कि वो फेवर करते हैं. तो दैट्स वाई हमने ये एक्सपर्ट्स लिए हैं बाहर से. ठीक है. So that हमारा support, we will only be providing them secretariat support. All the decision making will be done by them. And to be honest, अभी तक जो हमने panel chairs select किए हैं and the panel members that we have selected, they are above all these kinds of things that we have previously been experiencing. Abilities तो blind reviews में नहीं हो सकता. ठीक है. इंस्टीट्यूशनल के नहीं, वो देखें, अब मुझे आपका नाम ही नहीं पता तो हाउ कैन आई असेस यू. आपने अपना CV देंगे ना उसमें, तो आई मीन दैट्स वन ऑफ द क्राइटेरिया ना. तो रिसर्च ग्रांट्स में देयर इज़ नो कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ ब्लाइंड रिव्यू एक्चुअली. ठीक है. द ओनली थिंग्स दैट आर प्रोसेस, आई मीन द नॉर्म्स आर कि आप देयर आर फॉर्म एक्सप्लिसिट एग्रीमेंट्स विद योर रिव्यूअर्स कि आप जो हैं कॉन्फॉर्म टू अ इंस्टीट्यूट जिसकी आप एप्लीकेशन इवेलुएट कर रहे हैं, तो you will say कि ये मेरा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट है before you evaluate that, and then you ask somebody else to evaluate it. So all these things we will be practicing that. ठीक है. तो वो आपके वो कंसर्न्स वैलिड करेंगे. ब्लाइंड रिव्यू ग्रांट एप्लीकेशंस में नहीं होता है.
Assalamu alaikum. So my name is Shahid Mustafa from Bahrain University. The question is that while PhD scholars are mostly restricted to academia, why not to industry and other sectors?
हमने तो कोई restriction नहीं.
नहीं, आपकी तरफ से लेकिन most ये industry है, that doesn't, I don't know why they not accept the PhDs اور وہ ریسرچ کو کہتے ہیں کہ whatever you have studied it وہ اس کے اوپر
نہیں. وہ تو دیکھیں اگر آپ نے اچھا کام کیا ہے اور آپ وہ واقعی irrespective of whether you have a PhD or not actually. So ہم دیکھیں میں میرا جو past I've been a researcher actually for the last 15 years and I was mostly working with the industry. ٹھیک ہے, I had an academic position but my research was most of time I was working sitting at the industry because ہمارے جو research projects ہوتے تھے they were funded by the industry. ٹھیک ہے, تو اور again it's a relationship building kind of a thing. Industry جو ہے they are the very difficult part, I mean all around the world, not only in Pakistan, دنیا میں انٹرنیشنلی کوئی بھی بزنس اینٹیٹی جو ہوتی ہے unless they see کہ آج وہ اگر 1 گھنٹہ کسی چیز کے اوپر اسپینڈ کریں گے تو آج سے ڈاؤن دا روڈ ان کو اس کا یہ بینیفٹ ہوگا, تب تک وہ کبھی بھی نہیں آپ سے کام کریں گے. ٹھیک ہے, آئی مین میں ٹائم کی بات کر رہا ہوں, میں پیسے کی تو ابھی بات ہی نہیں کر رہا. ٹھیک ہے, تو پیسے کی اس سے بھی زیادہ ہوتی ہے. ٹھیک ہے, تو اگر آپ کے ساتھ وہ 1 گھنٹہ ایک میٹنگ میں بھی اسپینڈ کریں گے نا, تو دیٹ مینس کہ ان کا کوئی انٹرسٹ ہے اینڈ دے سی سم ویلیو ان دیٹ, تب وہ آپ کے ساتھ کام کریں گے. اگر وہ نہیں دیکھتے تو irrespective آف کہ ہم اپنی پالیسی جو مرضی بنا لیں وہ نہیں چل سکے گی. تو آپ کو اپنی پروفائل بلڈ کرنی ہے, آپ کو اپنے ایکسپرٹیز بلڈ کرنی ہے, سو دیٹ دا انڈسٹری ول ایکچولی come to you and to tell you کہ جی یہ میری پرابلم ہے, یہ مجھے سالو کرنی. اینڈ اٹس ناٹ کہ میں کل بیٹھا ہوا تھا, یہ ڈاکٹر صاحب بھی وہاں تھے اس میٹنگ میں, ویئر دا چیمبر آف کامرس ریپرزینٹیٹیوز said to us کہ جی ہمارے پاس پرابلمز ہیں, ہمارے پاس پیسہ بھی ہے, ہم پیسہ بھی انویسٹ کرنا چاہتے ہیں. کوئی ایک تو ریسرچرز جو ریسرچ کر رہے ہیں دے آر بکش ریسرچ, ہمارے پرابلم سے اٹ ہیز نتھنگ ٹو ڈو ود آر پرابلمس. ٹھیک ہے, اور دوسرا یہ کہ وہ کہتے ہیں کہ ہمارے پاس ہمیں کسی نے کانٹیکٹ بھی نہیں آج تک کیا. ٹھیک ہے, تو دس از دا انڈسٹری ویو پوائنٹ اینڈ آئی ایم ٹیلنگ یو فرام دا ویری ٹاپ. یہاں کے پریزیڈنٹ تھے وہ لاہور چیمبر آف کامرس کے, اور گجرانوالہ کے بھی چیمبر آف کامرس کے پریزیڈنٹ تھے جو who was in that meeting actually.
Dr. Zain, can I just needs our people are not aware of that, so they're not preparing, they're not actually coordinating with. So is it possible that on HEC side or even on industrial side, they advertise, like on Nature, in other journals, they advertise the job, that this is where the problem lies, this is what we want to address, and this is how much we are ready to invest, and then maybe people can get engaged. We can.
اچھا, اس میں جو HEC نے انیشیٹو لے رہے ہیں وہ یہ ہے کہ یہ ہم نے ہر یونیورسٹی میں ایک ڈپارٹمنٹ بنایا تھا وچ از کالڈ OREC ایکچولی. ٹھیک ہے, OREC ڈپارٹمنٹ کا جو مینڈیٹ ہے, آئی مین اس کا جو کانسیپٹ ہے, دیٹ از ٹو پروموٹ انڈسٹری ایکڈیمیا لنکیجز ایکچولی. ٹھیک ہے, تو وہ ان کے مینڈیٹ میں ہے کہ دے ہیو ٹو ڈو اٹ. ٹھیک, دیٹس ون تھنگ. جہاں تک جاب سے ریلیٹڈ بات ہے تو اگین HEC اس میں ہم نے ابھی ایک جاب پورٹل بنا دی ہے. ٹھیک, اگین ابھی تک ہم نے اس کو لمٹ کیا ہوا ہے ٹو دا ایکڈیمک کمیونٹی اونلی. ہم نے HEC لیول پہ اس کو امپلیمنٹ کر دی ہے. اب ناؤ وی آر اوپننگ اٹ اپ ٹو دا ایکڈیمک کمیونٹی ایز ویل. آپ کی یونیورسٹی میں اگر کوئی بھی جاب اپرچونیٹی ہے تو یو کین سینڈ اس اے ای میل, ہم اس پہ پورٹل پہ آپ کو پوسٹ کر لیں گے. ٹھیک ہے, اور ہم جو ابھی وہ میں نے آپ کو ذکر کیا تھا کہ ہم ایک سسٹم ڈیولپ کر رہے ہیں وچ پرابلی ول بی لانچڈ بائی دا اینڈ آف نیکسٹ منتھ, کہ ہر ایکڈیمک یونیورسٹی میں فرام دا ویری فرسٹ ایئر جو آپ کا اسٹوڈنٹ ایک انٹر ہوتا ہے ٹل یو ریٹائر فرام یور پوزیشن ایٹ 60 years old, آپ ایک پروفائل وہاں بلڈ کر سکتے ہیں. ٹھیک ہے, اینڈ یو ول کیری فارورڈ دیٹ پروفائل. ونس دیٹ پروفائل از مینٹینڈ دیئر ایکچولی, تو آپ کو وہاں کہیں کوئی بھی جاب اپرچونیٹی ملتی ہے ود ون کلک یو کین اپلائی فار دیٹ پوزیشن. ٹھیک ہے, تو دیٹس اگین وہ سسٹم آٹومیشن ریلیٹڈ چیزیں ہیں جو کہ ہم بلڈ کر رہے ہیں. ایون اسی پروفائل کو ہم لنک کر رہے ہیں اپنی گرانٹ اپلیکیشنس کے ساتھ بھی, کہ آپ نے اگر آلریڈی وہ پروفائل بنائی ہوئی ہے تو تو آپ کو دوبارہ پروفائل نہیں بنانی پڑے گی. ایٹ دا ٹائم آف اپلیکیشن یو جسٹ کین امپورٹ آل دا سیم ڈیٹا دیئر ایکچولی.
السلام علیکم. ایک انڈائریکٹ سا کوشچن ہے ریسرچ اینڈ ڈیولپمنٹ کے حوالے سے. آج کل HEC موسٹلی جو اپائنٹمنٹ کرتی ہے وہ TTS پہ کرتی ہے, اور TTS کی جو سیلری ہے پچھلے 4-5 سالوں سے انکریز ہی نہیں ہوئی. تو ایک انسینٹیو جو کچھ لوگ ریڈیو کی صورت میں بھی ملتا تھا وہ بھی ختم ہو رہا ہے, اور آپ کی پے نہیں بڑھ رہی. تو اس وجہ سے جب آپ کو غم روزگار سے فرصت نہیں ملے گی تو آپ ریسرچ کی طرف کیسے آئیں گے؟ میرے خیال میں 80 to 90% فیکلٹی آج کل یونیورسٹی ہائر کر رہی ہیں وہ TTS پہ ہوتی ہیں, اور TTS کی جو سیلری ہے اور 2015 کے بعد وہ کوئی انکریز نہیں ہوئی. آپ تو یہ کوشچن آپ سے ریلیونٹ نہیں ہے, لیکن کیونکہ آپ ایک اتھارٹیز میں ہیں, اور اگر یہ بات ہماری آگے کنوے ہو سکتے ہے تو میرے خیال میں
جی یہ جو اگین TTS اور BPS کا یہ جو ایک مسئلہ ہے, اس پہ بھی ہم وی آر ورکنگ آن دیٹ. میرے ڈویژن کے اندر نہیں ہے یہ, اٹس اندر ڈویژن ہو ورکس فار دیٹ. تو یہ پرابلی ود ان اے فیو منتھس ٹائم آپ کو اس کے بارے میں بھی اپڈیٹ مل جائے گی. وہ مائک آئی تھنک آئی ریکویسٹ یو کہ ایک کویشچن نکال لیں, کیونکہ جسٹ ٹو گیو یو ادر اپرچونیٹی ہمیں وی نیڈ ٹو وائنڈ اٹ اپ ایز ویل.
Actually, I am from Rabbit Sort, first company in Pakistan which is working on Martian drone. So, first of all, if we collaborate as I am going with UET, and I am trying to convince them to support us or facilitate it for the labs. So, میرا کوشچن یہ ہے کہ لیٹس سپوز میں ان کے ساتھ کولیبریٹ کرتا ہوں, میں ایک انڈسٹری ہوں, میں انویسٹ کرتا ہوں, اور سیکنڈ وہ ہمیں فیسلٹی دیتے ہیں. تو وٹ ول بی دا رول آف HEC بٹوین اس, ان کا کیا رول ہوگا؟ لیٹس سپوز اگر ہمیں پبلش بھی کرنے ہیں, پبلیکیشنز بھی کرنے ہیں, وہ ہمارے فورن جرنلز میں ہو رہے ہیں. پاکستان میں کوئی ایسا جرنل تو ہے نہیں جو کہ فیمس ہو, تو آپ لوگوں کا کیا رول ہوگا؟ سیکنڈ, اٹس ناٹ ریلیٹڈ ٹو دس, ایک کوالٹی آف ایجوکیشن جو کہ بہت انکریز کر رہی ہے. لاسٹ ڈے میں نے لیا انٹو موسٹلی کینڈیڈیٹس کے 3.5 سے GPA تھا, لیکن وہ سمپل ایک C++ کا کوڈ نہیں لکھ سکے. تھرڈ میرا یہ ہے کہ ایک اسٹوڈنٹ اور پروفیسر کا جو ریلیشن ہے ڈیورنگ ریسرچ, موسٹلی پاکستان میں اسٹوڈنٹس کو یہ ایشو ہے کہ وہ کہتے ہیں کہ ہم ریسرچ کرتے ہیں, ایٹ دی اینڈ جو مین آتھر میں ہے وہ پروفیسر چلے جاتے ہیں. موسٹلی یہاں پہ پروفیسر بیٹھے ہیں, شاید ان کو بلا رہے, لیکن یہ ہوتا ہے ایشو ان کے درمیان. تو ایسا کوئی پلیٹ فارم نہیں ہے جس میں اسٹوڈنٹ اور ٹیچر یا پروفیسر ایڈوانس میں HEC پہ وہ رجسٹر کرے یا اپنے آپ کو یہ ڈیفائن کر دے کہ یہ اس کا مین پروجیکٹ ہے. فورتھ, یونیورسٹیز سے ریلیٹڈ کوشچن ہے کہ آپ ان کو کیوں نہیں کیٹیگرائز کرتے کہ موسٹلی جس طرح موسٹلی یورپ میں ہے کہ کچھ یونیورسٹیز ریسرچ اورینٹیڈ ہیں اور کچھ جو ہیں وہ صرف ماسٹر تک, ان کو ٹیکنیکل ایجوکیشن یونیورسٹی کہا جاتا ہے. تو یہاں پہ ہر یونیورسٹی اس ریس میں آ جاتی ہے کہ وہ جب کوئی اس قسم کا ایونٹ ہوتا ہے یا کوئی کانفرنس ہوتی ہے وہ وہاں پہ آ جاتی ہے فنڈنگ دینے کے لیے, اور ایون دے ہیو ناٹ کیپیبلٹی. اور باقی یہ ہے کہ نمبر آف اسٹوڈنٹس یہاں پہ ابھی جاب کا بھائی نے کہا کہ ان کا ایشو ہے سیلری کا, دس اینڈ دیٹ. تو ہماری کوئی اس طرح کے اسٹیٹس نہیں ہیں کہ نمبر آف اسٹوڈنٹس کتنے پروڈیوس ہو رہے ہیں, کتنے آؤٹ ہو رہے ہیں, اور آگے جابس کتنی ہیں. تو یہ بھی ایک چیز ہے. اور لاسٹ ون ہے کہ پاکستان کے پاس کوئی ایسا جرنل یا پبلیکیشن ریناؤن نہیں ہے, تو آپ کی کیا اس میں ہوگی کہ آپ کس طرح کولیبریٹ کر رہے ہیں فورن جرنلس کے ساتھ یا کسی اس طرح کے, تاکہ وہ پاکستان اسٹوڈنٹس کو یہ فیسلٹیز مل سکے کہ وہ جو فیس ہوتی ہے وہ کم فیس میں رہتے ہوئے اس جرنلس میں اپنے پبلش کروا سکیں. گورنمنٹ اس پہ یا سپورٹ کرے, یا اگر انڈسٹری بھی سپورٹ کر رہی ہے تو دیر مسٹ بی سم انیشیٹو اور پلیٹ فارم ہونا چاہیے. تھینک یو.
آئی تھنک آپ نے کافی سارے کویشچنس کیے ہیں, اینڈ آل آف دیم آر ویری ریلیونٹ ایکچولی. مسئلہ یہ ہے کہ ہم ایک آپ نے یہ جو ہم نے آج پورا دن لگایا ہے, اس کے علاوہ کل کا بھی دن جو میرا تھا مین وہ جرنل سے ریلیٹڈ ڈسکشن تھی ہماری. آر ایمفسس از آن کوالٹی ناؤ ایکچولی. ٹھیک ہے, ہم وہ کوانٹٹی پہ زیادہ فوکس نہیں کر رہے. ٹھیک, تو ہم نے کچھ انسٹرومنٹس آپ کو آج بھی شو کیے ہیں وچ از گوئنگ ان دیٹ ڈائریکشن. میں آپ کو صرف چھوٹی سی ایگزامپل دے دیتا ہوں کہ ہم نے کہا ہے کہ ہماری جو جی سی ایف کی کالز ہوں گی وہ ریسرچ انٹینسو یونیورسٹی لیڈ کر سکے گی. ٹھیک ہے, تو اگین وی آر ورکنگ آن دیٹ کہ اس کی ہم اس کو کیسے ڈیفائن کریں گے. اور اس کے تو آئی ایگری ود یو کہ سم آف دیر آر کچھ سیٹ آف یونیورسٹیز ہوتی ہیں جن میں اچھی ریسرچ کی, بٹ یو کی ناٹ بار دیم. آپ دوسری یونیورسٹیز کو بھی یو کین آسک دیم کہ وہ بھی اپنی کیپیسٹی بلڈ کریں ٹو ریچ دیٹ لیول. ٹھیک. اچھا, دا فرسٹ کویسچن دیٹ یو ریزڈ واز کہ ہمارے بیچلر اسٹوڈنٹس ان کی 3.9 یا 3.5 سے ابو ہوتی ہے, لیکن یہ دے ڈونٹ ہیو دا رائٹ اسکلز ایکچولی. ٹھیک ہے, اینڈ اٹس اے ویری ویلڈ کویسچن. ہم ایک ایچ ای سی لیول کے اوپر ایک انیشیٹو لے رہے ہیں وچ از ریویمپنگ آر کریکولم, آئی مین اوور آل انڈر گریڈس پروگرام. ٹھیک ہے, اور اس کا جو مین آبجیکٹیو ہے وہ یہی ہے کہ ہمارے بچے جب انڈر گریجویشن جو بھی بیچلرس کا پروگرام وہ کمپلیٹ کریں تو دے آلریڈی ہیو اے ویری ڈیسنٹ اسکلس کہ وہ کوئی اس اسپیسیفک فیلڈ میں جا کے کام کر سکیں. ٹھیک ہے, اور اس کے 3 براڈر ہیں. ایک ہم اس میں براڈ بیسڈ ایجوکیشن پہ کام کر رہے ہیں, ایک ہے کہ اسکلڈ اس کا ایک کمپوننٹ ہوگا, اور دین تھرڈ ون از اسپیشلائزیشن اس کی ہوگی. ٹھیک ہے, تو یہ تینوں اس میں ایک وہ اینڈ اگین اس کی فریم ورک جو ہے وہ دیر ہیز بین سم پروگریس ان دیٹ. ایکچولی ہماری جو لاسٹ کمیشن میٹنگ ہوئی تھی اس میں وہ چیز اپروو ہوئی تھی, اور اس کا اب اس وقت اس کے اوپر امپلیمنٹیشن پہ کام ہو رہا ہے. ہم نے آلریڈی یونیورسٹیز کو کہہ دیا ہے کہ 2020 دسمبر 2020 کے بعد دیر ول بی نو 2 years بیچلر پروگرام. آل دا بیچلر پروگرامز ول بی 4 year. ٹھیک ہے, اور اس کے ہم کریکولم اور اس کی جو ڈفرینٹ اور موڈیلٹیز ہیں وہ اس وقت اس کے اوپر کام ہو رہے ہیں. اور اس کا کانسیپٹ یہی ہے کہ ہم اسٹینڈرڈائز کرنا چاہتے ہیں ہر ڈسپلن. ہماری مثلا انجینئرنگ یا میڈیکل کی ڈسپلن میں آلریڈی وہ چیزیں تھیں پہلے بھی. ٹھیک ہے, جو دوسری ڈسپلنس تھے ان میں وہ چیزیں اس طرح کم تھیں, تو اس کو ہم ایک اسٹینڈرڈائز کر رہے ہیں. اینڈ اگین جو کوالٹی آف ایجوکیشن ہے وہ اس میں واقعی وہ ڈیٹیریٹ ہوئی ہے. مطلب میں آج سے 20 سال پہلے میں نے ایجوکیشن یہاں ہی پاکستان سے حاصل کی تھی. اب میں جب دیکھتا ہوں اپنی اسی یونیورسٹی کے گریجویٹس کو تو وہ اس میں تھوڑا سا ڈفرینس ہے ایکچولی. ٹھیک ہے, اینڈ تھوڑا سا بھی نہیں ہے, کچھ اس میں کافی زیادہ ہے. تو وہ دیٹس ٹیلس می کہ ہم نے شاید اپنی جو بیسک ایجوکیشن تھی اس کے اوپر اتنا فوکس نہیں کیا. ہم نے پبلیکیشنز یا اس طرح کی چیزوں پہ تو کافی زیادہ چلے گئے, لیکن ہم نے جو ہماری کور ایکٹیویٹی تھی اس کے اوپر اس کو نگلیکٹ کیا. ٹھیک ہے, تو نہیں, اٹس ناٹ اباؤٹ سیمیسٹر سسٹم. آئی اسٹڈیڈ ان اینول سسٹم ایکچولی. ٹھیک ہے, اٹس ناٹ اباؤٹ دا سیمیسٹر. آپ اس کو سیمیسٹر کہہ دیں, جو بھی کہہ دیں, بٹ آئی مین اگین وہ فریم ورک ہے, اس کے اوپر میں زیادہ بات نہیں کروں گا کیونکہ وہ دیر آر ایکسپرٹس ہو آر ورکنگ آن دیٹ ایکچولی. تو ونس اٹ از ان پلیس تو آپ لوگوں کو پتہ چل جائے گا. تو دیٹ ول بی دا اپروچ وی آر ڈیلنگ ود دیٹ ایکچولی. جو جہاں تک انڈسٹری کی جو ہیں ایک پبلیکیشن سے ریلیٹڈ آپ نے بات کی تھی کہ ہمارے پاس پبلیکیشنز کیوں ہماری اتنی اچھی نہیں ہیں. ٹھیک ہے, اگین ویری ویلڈ کنسرن ایکچولی. ہم نے ابھی ریسنٹلی ہی اپنی جو پبلیکیشنز کی پالیسی ہے وہ ریوائز کی ہے. ٹھیک ہے, اینڈ اٹ ول بی اپلیکیبل فرام 2020 جون سے, جولائی سے, 1 جولائی سے. ٹھیک ہے, ہم نے آلریڈی اس کا نوٹیفائی کر دیا یونیورسٹیز کو کہ دس ول بی آر پالیسی. ٹھیک ہے, اور اس کی ہم نے اگین انٹرنیشنل کچھ پیرامیٹرز لیے ہیں جس کی بیسس پہ ہم جرنلز کی رینکنگ کریں گے. ٹھیک, اور دیٹ ول بی لنکڈ جو ہمارے نیشنل اور انٹرنیشنل وہ ایک کرائٹیریا ہوگا. اگر ہمارے نیشنل جرنلز اس تک پہنچ سکتے ہیں تو دے ول بی گیٹنگ دیٹ لیول. اگر نہیں پہنچ سکیں گے تو وہ نیچے والی کیٹیگریز میں رہ جائیں گے یا وہ ڈی لسٹ ہو جائیں گے. ٹھیک ہے. سو دیٹ ول بی اے ویری ٹرانسپیرنٹ سسٹم. اور اس میں ہم کل بھی ہماری کافی 3-4 گھنٹے وہاں میٹنگ میں ڈسکشن ہوئی. اگین ہم اس میں بھی ایک آئی ٹی سسٹم ڈیولپ کر رہے ہیں جو کہ ہم پرابلی بائی دا اینڈ آف دسمبر اس کو بھی ہم اوپن اپ کر دیں گے آپ لوگوں کے ساتھ. ٹھیک ہے. سو دیٹ آپ نے جب بھی پبلش کرنے جا رہے ہیں آپ ایک ویب سائٹ کے اوپر جا کے اس جرنل کا نام لکھ کے یو کین سی کہ جی یہ اس وقت اس کا کیا اسٹیٹس ہے. ٹھیک ہے. تو اگر آپ کو نظر آ رہا ہے کہ یہ اس کا اسٹیٹس نہیں ہے کوئی تو یو شوڈنٹ گو فار پبلشنگ ان دوز جرنلز. ٹھیک ہے. تو دیٹس آر ویو کہ ہاں آپ کو اس کو اس طریقے سے دیکھنا ہے. تو اور اس میں ہم کچھ اور بھی ایفرٹس کریں گے کہ ہمارے جو لوکل جرنلز ہیں ان کی بھی کیپیسٹی بلڈنگ ہو سکے, ان کی بھی ہینڈ ہولڈنگ ہو سکے, بیکاز دے ہیو سم ادر کنسرنس کہ ہماری اس لیول کی انسٹیٹیوشنل سپورٹ ہمیں اویلیبل نہیں ہے. تو وہ ہم ان کی کیپیسٹی بلڈنگ کے اوپر بھی کام کریں گے. اور اسی طرح کی ہم کچھ ورک شاپس ان کے ساتھ بھی ارینج کریں گے ود دا ریلیونٹ ایکسپرٹس ایکچولی. ٹھیک. تو وہ ساری ایکٹیویٹیز ہم ان پیرلل کریں گے, لیکن یہ ہے کہ کوالٹیٹیو لیول پہ وی ول ٹیک ہارڈ اسٹانس کہ ہم جو اسٹینڈرڈ رکھیں گے ان کو آپ کو میٹ کرنا پڑے گا. ٹھیک ہے. ارسپیکٹیو آف کہ آپ کہاں سے کس یونیورسٹی سے ہیں یا کس جگہ سے.
سوری میں ایک بات کہہ دوں, ان کا ایک کوشچن یہ تھا نا کہ جو انٹرنیشنل پبلیکیشنز ہوتی ہیں اس کے ایکسپینسز بہت ہوتے ہیں.
ہاں
تو وہ لیکن اس میں وہ ایک پروویژن ہوتی ہے کہ اف یو آر فرام لوور مڈل انکم کنٹریز دین یو گیٹ اے ڈسکاؤنٹ.
اچھا اس میں دیر آر 2 تھنگس. بیسکلی یہ بھی اگین ناؤ اٹس کائنڈ آف اے بزنس ماڈل ایکچولی. تو اس میں کچھ جو جرنلس ہیں جو اچھے جرنلس کی میں بات کر رہا ہوں ان کی اگر آپ کلوزڈ ایکسیس رکھتے ہیں تو اس کی فی بڑی نامنل سی ہوتی ہے. ٹھیک ہے. لیکن اگر آپ اوپن ایکسیس اس پہ جاتے ہیں تو اس کی فی زیادہ سبسٹینشیل ہوتی ہے, وچ از سم ویئر اراؤنڈ $1,500 to $2,000 کے قریب کی. کچھ
£2,500.
ہاں کچھ کی $3,000 تک بھی ہوتی ہے. تو دیٹ وی آر سپورٹنگ ان آر ریسرچ گرانٹس کہ آپ اپنی جو بھی اف یو ہیو رن ون ریسرچ گرانٹ تو آپ اپنے اوپن ایکسیس جرنلس کی فیس کو اس میں کنسیڈر کر سکتے ہیں. ٹھیک ہے. جو میں نے دوسرا پروگرام آپ سے ذکر کیا تھا یونیورسٹی لیڈ ریسرچ والا, اس میں ہم اگین یونیورسٹیز کو کہیں گے کہ وہ اپنے ریسرچرز کو سپورٹ کریں ان دوز کائنڈ آف ایکسپینسز.
جی جسٹ اے سجیشن, یہ ابھی بات جو ہو رہی تھی کہ پی ایچ ڈیز کے بارے میں بھی اور ابھی جو فنڈنگ پروگرام صبح سے بتا رہے ہیں وہ یہ ہے کہ اب انڈسٹری سے کولیبریشن بہت امپورٹنٹ ہے اور ہم آلویز ایکٹیو ہونا چاہتے ہیں کہ فیکلٹی ممبرز اپلائی کریں فنڈنگ کے لیے, انڈسٹری کو آن بورڈ لائیں. اور یہ چیمبر آف کامرس والے ہمیشہ آپ کو پرابلمس بتائیں گے, بٹ آپ ڈیپ ڈاؤن جائیں تو there will be no collaboration. وہ آپ کو ہمیشہ بتائیں گے جی یہ پرابلمس ہیں, بٹ آپ دیکھیں گے جتنے یہاں پاکستان میں سافٹ ویئر ہاؤسز ہیں وہ جتنے بھی ہیں وہ چیمبر آف کامرس کے علاوہ باہر کے لیے ڈیولپمنٹ کر رہے ہیں. اس کا سلوشن یہ ہو سکتا ہے اگر آپ دیکھیں یورپ اور US کے اندر ان کا ماڈل دیکھیں تو میکسیمم کمپنیز اس وجہ سے ریسرچرز ہائر کرتی ہیں کہ دے گیٹ اے ٹیکس ایگزیمپشن. وہ ٹیکس ان کا اویڈ ہو جاتا ہے اگر وہ ہائر کرتی ہیں یونیورسٹی سائٹ پہ ایک ریسرچر کو who is working actually for the benefit of the company. یہی ماڈل چل رہا ہے, زیادہ تر کمپنیز یہ کریں. ہمارے یہاں اسٹیٹک اسٹرکچر ہے زیادہ تر انڈسٹری کا گروتھ کے اندر. اگر ہم گورنمنٹ کے ساتھ مل کر کوئی ایسا پلان بنایا جائے کہ انڈسٹری کو کوئی ایگزیمپشن دی جائے, جس طرح اس کی ایگزامپل میں دیتا ہوں, فوجی فرٹیلائزر, اینگرو, آپ دیکھیں کمیونٹی ڈیولپمنٹ پروگرامس کتنے شروع کیے ہیں کہ گورنمنٹ نے کہا کہ آپ نے علاقے کو ڈیولپ نہیں کیا لیکن وہ کالجز بنا رہے ہیں. اگر آپ انہیں کو یہ کہیں کہ آپ کے یہ ریسرچر جو آ رہے ہیں بڑے ہائیلی کوالیفائڈ ہیں اور ان کو آپ استعمال کریں, ہم آپ کو یہ ایگزامپشن دیں گے ان ٹیکس اور ان اینی تھنگ جس طرح بھی گورنمنٹ سے نیگوشیٹ کرتی ہے, سو دے ول ہائر اٹ. کیونکہ یورپ اور US کے اندر زیادہ تر کمپنیز اسی وجہ سے پروجیکٹس کے اندر اپلائی کرتے ہیں کہ جہاں 50% وہ ٹیکس کاٹتے ہیں ریسرچر کا, وہاں 50% خود بھی پے کر رہے ہوتے ہیں. سو ان کو وہ 50% آلموسٹ ختم ہو جاتا ہے. تو وی شوڈ ڈو دیس کائنڈ آف تھنگس, ادروائز ہم انڈسٹری سے پوچھتے رہیں گے. ہم جب سولوشن لے کے جاتے ہیں تو وہ کہتے ہیں نہیں جی یہ تو ہم نہیں چینج کر سکتے اتنا زیادہ.
دیکھیں اگین آئی ہیو ریٹن یور پوائنٹ ایکچولی, although it does not cover countries in terms of industry academia relationships and projects. تو having said that, میرا خیال ہے کہ اب ہم انسینٹیو سے زیادہ جو ہے نا اس سے آگے کی چیزیں ہیں. مجھے ایٹ لیسٹ جو کل انہوں نے امپریشن دیا آئی ٹی ریلیٹڈ تو ٹھیک ہے, مجھے پتہ ہے اس میں کچھ لوگوں نے زیادہ اچھے کام کیے ہیں, لیکن آئی ٹی سے باہر نکل کے بھی بہت ساری پرابلمس ہیں ایکچولی ہماری انڈسٹری کی. کیمیکلز کا انہوں نے ذکر کیا تھا ایک کمپنی کا, ٹھیک ہے. تو آئی تھنک انڈسٹری میں بھی ایک دیر از اے جینون ڈیزائر ایکچولی, ٹھیک ہے. ہمیں آئی نو کہ ہماری ابھی وہ دیر از اے ٹرسٹ ڈیفیسٹ آن بوتھ سائڈس, انڈسٹری کی سائڈ پہ بھی ایک انڈیا کی سائڈ پہ بھی ہے. ہمیں اس کو کسی طریقے سے بریچ کرنے کی ضرورت ہے, اور وہ انیشلی ایک دم نہیں ہو جائے گا, اٹ ول ٹیک اٹس ڈیو کورس آف ٹائم. ایکچولی ہم یہ جو چھوٹی چھوٹی کچھ اپنے انسینٹیوز ڈائیورٹ کر رہے ہیں اس ڈائریکشن میں, اٹ کوڈ بی اے اسٹارٹنگ پوائنٹ فار دیٹ, بٹ اٹس ناٹ دا اینڈ ایکچولی, ٹھیک ہے. تو آپ لوگوں کو بھی ایکڈیمکس کو ریچ آؤٹ کرنا ہے, انڈسٹری کو, آپ کو خود ان کی پرابلمس کو سمجھنے کی بھی ضرورت ہے, ٹھیک ہے. آپ آئی ایم سو گلیڈ کہ آپ لوگ ابھی 4 بجے تک ایک ویکینڈ کے ڈے میں بیٹھے ہوئے ہیں, تو دیٹ مینس کہ یو ہیو دیٹ ارج ٹو لرن اباؤٹ دوز تھنگس, ٹھیک ہے. میری آپ سے ریکویسٹ ہوگی کہ آپ اپنے ارد گرد کی انڈسٹری کو بھی انگیج کریں, ان کے ساتھ بھی ملیں, ان کی پرابلمس کو سمجھنے کی کوشش کریں. دیٹ ول بی اے اسٹارٹنگ پوائنٹ فار آر ڈائلاگ ایکچولی. اور اگین یہ پہلے دن نہیں ہو جائے گا, یہ ریلیشن شپ بلڈ ہونے میں ٹائم لگے گا, لیکن ونس آپ نے کوئی اچھا کام ان کے لیے کر لیا اور وہ ریلیشن شپ بلڈ ہوگی تو وہ پھر ایک سسٹینیبل وہ چیز بن جائے گی آپ کے لیے. اور آپ کو میں آنیسٹلی بتاؤں کہ میرے پاس جب بینگ اے ریسرچر, وہاں بعض اوقات مجھے ریسرچ آرگنائزیشنس کی طرف, فنڈنگ ایجنسیز کی طرف دیکھنے کی ضرورت نہیں ہوتی تھی. مجھے انڈسٹری خود ہی کہہ رہی تھی کہ جی آپ یہ کام کر لیں ہمارے لیے, ہم وی آر گوئنگ ٹو پرووائڈ یو فنڈس فار دیٹ. تو آئی مین وی وانٹ ٹو ڈیولپ دیٹ کائنڈ آف اے collaborative environment ایکچولی, جہاں پہ ہر اینٹی جو ہے وہ اپنا اپنا رول پلے کرے گی. جی
موسٹلی لائک UET
اور بھی ہیں
لیکن زیادہ تر کہہ دیتی ہیں کہ جو اگر لیبس کی بات آتی ہیں تو دے ٹرائی ٹو سے کہ یہ ہم فیسیلیٹیٹ نہیں کر سکتے, دے آر اونلی فار اسٹوڈنٹس. انڈسٹری ادھر اپنی ٹیم نہیں بھیج سکتی.
یونیورسٹی ایٹ لیسٹ اٹ شوڈ ناٹ بی فرام دا یونیورسٹی ایز ویل کہ وہ اس طرح کی کوئی ریسٹرکشنز امپوز کرے.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Fauziya, for the insightful session. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to invite Professor Dr. Muhammad Ashraf Javed Sahab, Director Audit, University of the Punjab, to have a short talk.
ون کرتے ہیں تو اس میں 2 چیزیں بڑی امپورٹنٹ ہوتی ہیں. کوئی کچھ بھی کہے لیکن واٹ مائی ایکسپیرینس از اے گڈ ریسرچ پروپوزل